Good morning. Sorry, I'm not really ready. Can you tell? Can you tell I'm not really ready? Good morning, Neil. Good morning, Mr. Spock. What's this now? Oh my God. I did not get ready in time today, folks. Let me tell you. But good morning. I'm here. How are you? Welcome to Wake and Bake. Hi, Kathy. It's so nice to see you again. Thank you for coming in, Kathy. Oh my God. My hair is all in my mouth and on my head. Yeah, we'll wait. Give her a minute. Just give her a minute. That's what my daughter was. Just give her a minute. Anyway, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Wake and Bake. It's Thursday. It's like actually, I think, don't some people have tomorrow off? Do you have tomorrow off? Checking in from the skies. Lee, have such a great time, love. This is wild. Isn't that great? Hey, fly, wait, up, up and away, my beautiful balloon. No, take me away. That's great, Lee. Have a wonderful, wonderful time. Can't wait to see you again. And yeah, it's Thursday, and here we are. I have a lot of stuff. Hold on, because I didn't even have a chance to pull up everything. Be safe. Safe travels, Lee. To my dearest Lee, I hope you have safe travels. Yeah. Wait, I need the history. And I need this 20 tab thing, because that was my 20 tabs. Nope, be quiet, but touch your Burchett. I'm not ready for you. I told you I'm not ready for you. Hold on. Okay, the first time we have Mr. Okay, this is the war on poor people continues, everybody. Just letting you know, this is the war on food stamps. We're going to be joining in progress this morning. It's a week from tomorrow. Oh, wait, what? Wait, what? Let's see. This is the one I want. Okay. Also share top audio. Okay. Unfortunately, you're going to have butt toucher Burchett this morning. That's right. All the way from the Great Plains of wherever the fuck he comes from. What's a week? Oh, tomorrow is a holiday. Is tomorrow a holiday? It's a week from tomorrow? Wait, what day is it? Oh, it's July 4th is next week. Wait, so okay, never mind. I don't even know what's happening. I don't work. Good morning, Dan. and other Dan Steely and Dan Maytag. Oh my goodness gracious. What a goofball I am. Okay, well, we're going to listen to them try to kill more poor people. People who need access to food and have children, you know. And you know what? I even want to feed the people who are like whatever this regime seems to call them. What is it? What are we calling them? Lazy? What are we calling them? Guess what? I want to feed all the lazy people. That's my new thing. That's my platform. Because imagine if lazy people were fed, maybe they wouldn't be lazy. No, they're not lazy. This is what they say. I do not say that. Anyway, so these guys, fuck this. I'm not looking forward to this one, but here we go. We're going to try and listen in on some of this shit, and then we'll come around.
The Government Accountability Office reports that these payments errors are mostly failures to verify recipients met
Everybody
all
thinks they found the smoking gun
such as
too.
being in the country legally. Loopholes and incorrect payments are costly enough, but the tax dollars lost to outright fraud may be greater. For instance, the Government Accountability Office estimated that trafficking in food stamps
they don't realize
$5
it's
billion
them though.
annual industry. Trafficking occurs when a crooked store owner profits off taxpayers by turning benefits into cash. For example, a customer swipes the EBT card for $200 in groceries. The clerk gives back $100 cash and pockets the difference.
No, I think it's me, Lee. I think
the
I'm
customer then uses the cash to buy
it is next week. I'm sorry. I thought tomorrow was a holiday.
To address fraud in federal benefit programs, the president created in March the White House task force to eliminate fraud.
It doesn't mean that much to us anymore. Sorry.
Building on Doge efforts,
GMO
the task
protein
force
algae.
is working
Maybe
to
it has,
eliminate data silos.
maybe we
that
could
it
make all
hard
the
to access
MAGA
the data needed to
influencers drink
verify
the
recipient
water
eligibility
to
and
prove
flag
how safe
potential
it is.
fraud.
What do you think if we do that? Why don't we have all the influencers who are right wing go and drink some of the reflecting pond and show us that there's what is that thing they love? Peptides? What is it? They love peptides. Hi, Macaroni. Yeah, let's look into the fraud in the defense industry. I mean, there's just so much, and my little brain cannot make sense of it. I mean, I can try sometimes. Soylent Green is algae, probably.
If food stamp recipients
Every day
data
is a
stays
holiday in New
state-specific databases,
Spookland.
for instance, individuals may apply for and receive benefits from multiple
Lord.
states. That's why Agricultural Secretary Brooke Rollins requested food stamp beneficiary and transaction data.
Yeah,
for
see,
the past
put them
5
out in the
years
bag,
from all
see?
50 states
That's what he
and
sounds like to
Washington,
me.
D.C. Data came in from 29 states,
Spookland.
nearly all under Republican governance,
It's
including my own
good.
state of Tennessee. With the data
That's
received,
what
the
Trump's doing,
Agriculture
treating it like an
Department
ATM
reports
machine.
identifying
Yeah,
$3 billion
exactly.
in potential
Let's
fraud
talk
and
about who
waste,
treats
including
shit like an
benefits being
ATM.
sent to 186,000 dead people, to
Oh
442,000 applicants with fraudulent Social Security numbers, and to hundreds of thousands of individuals.
Wow, I didn't know that the federal government had so much time to investigate the same fraud that the states are investigating. I didn't realize that. Strange, huh?
Who got duplicate benefits by
Badge.
submitting applications to multiple
Teresa,
jurisdictions.
good morning, my love.
But
I
we do
forgot
not know the
you
full
just didn't
extent of the
register the
problems
name.
because many states, including some of those with the most food stamps beneficiaries, like California, refuse to comply with Agriculture Department's data request. And that's very disappointing. The fight against fraud should not be a partisan issue. That's why yesterday I sent.
The fight against fraud should not be a partisan issue. And yet, you, sir, have made it a partisan issue, saying things like California does this and whatever, whoever else does that. You're butt toucher Burchett, you're the one making it an issue, not us. We're just doing our thing over here, sending you sending you tax money at a higher rate than other states. So sit down and shut up. Project 2025, eliminate all this, privatize it. That's really what it comes down to. Commoditize it. Good morning,
Request letters to the non-compliant
I'm a
states with the
butt-toucher,
highest number
Burchett.
of food stamp beneficiaries.
Everything that man said about, it
My
was
letter
bullshit,
demands to
Oren.
know
You're
why
exactly
they refuse
right.
to release data
This is
about
the war on poor
federal
people
taxpayer-funded
continues.
spending.
This is a continued war on poor people. I'm actually going to go. Burchett is not making any sense to me. I can't even understand a fucking word he's saying because he's got marbles in his mouth. Look at that. Look at that fucking stupid, sick motherfucker. And you know what this guy is trying to do? Let me tell you what this idiot's trying to do. He's trying to make himself like cool to the kids, right? He does all these TikToks and shit like that. He's a creeper. I think someone should check his fucking hard drive because he creeps me the fuck out. I think he is definitely dirty. Okay? I'm going to tell you right now. This guy is dirty. And I think he's got some real secrets that he'd love to hide because he's trying to do that like, I'm based Mike Lee, kind of thing. Like, oh, kids, you like me. I'm based. That's what Burchett's trying to do. Yeah, that face is why he usually has a beard. Well, that would make sense. It's a pretty fucking ugly face. I'm sorry. California is a MAGA dog whistle. Yep. Michigan is fighting all the same stuff. Right. It doesn't get harassed. And Minnesota. It's just the states they don't like. It's so dumb. Wait, Macaroni, what'd you say? You said something encouraging. And I missed it. Let's pause briefly for a good laugh. 101 judges have filed a 69-page bar complaint against Turd Blanche. Oh my God. I'm going to look that one up. That's fantastic. I mean, I think the incompetence eventually does get them in the end. I do. I mean, could we think about this? Just take it on the face of it. Turd Blanche was Dump's private lawyer lost the fraud case, lost the rape case, lost. So, yeah, Turd, you're not a good lawyer. I just, you could be like an evil genius or something, but you're just not a good lawyer. Like, you lose. You lose. Yeah, he needs a beardo. Yeah. That is called a shit-eating grin. They all seem to have been chewing on something we wouldn't bite. Dan, that's a good way to put it. The only thing they're good at is breaking shit. Exactly.
All right.
Now
Well,
with
good
some
morning, everyone.
refreshing,
Thank you,
beautiful
Mr.
woman,
Chairman. Thank you
smart,
to our witnesses for
funny.
being here today. And it's great to
Caring.
finally have a formal hearing again and be on the record, as this subcommittee has had a long absence from formal hearings. In fact, by our count, it's been 8 months since this committee has been on the record. And so I want to congratulate the chairman on his first official hearing. And I am eager to get into this conversation. And certainly there are lots of bipartisan efforts that can be identified to address waste, fraud, and abuse in federal programmings and to root out improper payments and fraud in federal support programs. And we can prove it. House Democrats and Republicans worked together to pass over 8 oversight bills this month aimed at rooting out financial fraud and improper payments.
I do love
But we remain skeptical and strongly opposed to efforts to use this as a front to try to further gut public assistance programs. In fact, we have seen over the last year and a half as this administration and this majority has used waste, fraud, and abuse as a front to try to gut basic programs that feed our children. I think that all of us can agree that in one of the wealthiest countries on planet Earth, there should not be hungry children. But over the last year and a half, we have seen one of the most dramatic increases in hunger in the modern time. In fact, recent reports have revealed that the United States is experiencing the highest rates of hunger since before the pandemic. 1 in 5 children right now
I've got to read
currently
this.
going without
We've got to
meals.
read this.
1 in 5 children in the United States. And because of the big ugly bill that was passed last year on July 4th and signed into law, a report this week in ProPublica revealed that over 770,000 American children are going without meals because of the big ugly bill that Donald Trump pushed through with the support of this majority on the backs of the American people, which we know has also affected 3.5 million Americans' access to food assistance. This is a moral failure. This is not just a policy argument. This is a moral failure in one of the richest countries on planet Earth. What we've seen, not just through the big ugly bill, but through the sustained attacks on the SNAP, WIC, and other food assistance programs that have happened during this Congress and this administration, is that it has chipped away at the ability of families to access these programs. While these supposed work requirements and other paperwork requirements are intended supposedly to address waste, fraud, and abuse, they have instead created barriers that are significant enough to cause millions of families to lose access to basic food. This is a public health crisis. Food is not just essential to life, but access to healthy food is also essential for children's development, for their health, for their ability to thrive. And so while President Trump is taking away food
macaroni,
from hungry
I found
kids,
it. Thank you so much.
we've also seen economic policies that have caused the cost of food to skyrocket.
Here's the actual.
The price
let
of
me
food
send
and vegetables has
I'll do a copy of
increased
the
by
actual letter.
6% since May of last year. Energy costs have increased by 23% since last year. And when you couple that with cuts in access to healthcare, cuts in access to food assistance, cuts in access to educational assistance, and the fact that yesterday the President of the United States failed to show up to sign a housing bill that was bipartisan that would have helped millions of families across the United States access housing assistance, We have never
I know.
seen
They
in,
go
I
after their
believe,
own
modern times, an
constituents, too.
administration that is so anti-family
get
and
it.
so anti-working family as we've seen over the last several months. It is hurting our children. It is on the backs of our people. Meanwhile, we're back to this DOGE subcommittee. DOGE has effectively been killed within the administration because of the significant breaking of the law that has happened over the last year and a half of laying off workers, gutting programs, and doing so without congressional consent. Court orders have ordered them to rehire, to rebuild, and yet this administration continues to ignore the law. And here we are, once again, attacking a fundamental program that supports our families. If we were actually serious about rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse, we would be investigating the 21 inspector generals who were fired by this administration. We would be
Very eloquent. She knows
investigating
the
the
issues.
thousands of investigators in these federal programs who were laid off by DOGE, who are actually the people who look into waste, fraud, and abuse. If we were serious about rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse, we would be investigating the millions of dollars that this administration just wasted on remodeling the reflecting pool, and which is now disintegrating before our eyes. We would be investigating what is happening with the illegal demolition of the East Wing. We would be investigating the Secretary of Defense, who not only used federal taxpayer dollars to buy lobster and steak dinners, but just asked this body last night for billions of dollars more for an illegal war that both the House and the Senate have already voted on. A war powers resolution is an illegal war. And so while I appreciate that today is about investigating waste, fraud, and abuse, and I appreciate the oversight on states that have records of challenges, I would also note that the 5 states to whom this letter was sent have Democratic governors. It was not sent to any states with Republican governors. So I think we have to ask ourselves, what is this actually about? Is this really about rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse? Or is this about taking food out of the mouths of our children? So I look forward to the conversation, and with that, I yield back.
Wow. Jim Nalgren, we got some good ideas.
I'd like to welcome our witnesses.
Better be looking at that chat.
First, we have John Walk. Mr. Walk is the Inspector General for U.S. Department of Agriculture. Next, we have Don Royal, a former 2-term president and current director of the United Council on Welfare Fraud. Next, we have Rachel Gressler. Ms. Gressler is a senior research fellow at the Plymouth Institute for Free Enterprise at Advancing American Freedom. And last, we have
all of that sounds terrible. Good.
Plata.
I'm glad to hear it.
Sorry, ma'am. I know I wanted to get it right. That's why I asked him Plata. Burchett. Nobody ever gets it right. Plata Nino. So thank you, ma'am. And you're the director of SNAP Policy and Advocacy at the Food Research and Action Center. And I want to thank you all for joining us, and I look forward to your testimony. Pursuant to Committee Rule 9G, the witnesses will please stand and raise their right hand. Do you solemnly swear to affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Let the record show the witness has answered in the affirmative, and thank you all. Y'all may take your seats. And we appreciate you being here today and look forward to your testimony. Let me remind the witnesses that we have read your written statement, and it will appear in full in the hearing record. Please limit your oral statements to 5 minutes. As a reminder, please press the button on the microphone in front of you so that it is on and the members can hear you. When you begin to speak, the light in front of you will turn green. After 4 minutes, the light will turn yellow. When the red light comes on, your 5 minutes have expired, and we would ask you to please wrap it up. I now recognize Inspector General Walk for his opening statement. Sir, you're recognized.
Exactly, Warren.
Chairman Burchett, Ranking Member Stansberry, and members of the subcommittee, thank you for inviting me to testify on Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP fraud. SNAP fraud is a reprehensible crime that squanders the compassion of American taxpayers who fund the program and robs from those low-income Americans who qualify for SNAP benefits to feed themselves and their families. SNAP fraud is not confined to a single individual who engages in deceptive practices to apply for SNAP benefits they are not eligible for. Perpetrators of SNAP fraud include highly organized, tech-savvy, sophisticated criminals that steal enormous sums of money. Proceeds of SNAP fraud have gone to individuals linked to terrorist groups, foreign adversary nations, and transnational criminal organizations. SNAP fraud is not a victimless crime, although its victims are often forgotten. They are the hardworking, tax-paying American farmers, meat packers, and truck drivers who deliver produce from farm to family.
Wait,
All
excuse
of
me?
America's taxpayers give from the fruits of their labor.
I'm sorry. I don't think people on SNAP need to be like deferential to fucking anybody. God, man. This man just acts like we're doing people a big old fucking favor, making sure they have access to money for food. He's just acting like we're doing you the biggest favor. And it's just reprehensible. And you know who suffers the most? The farmers. Huh? How the fuck does that happen? What, are they on
Fund
SNAP
food
too?
assistance,
You
showing
cutting their
America's
benefits
goodness to
too?
less fortunate neighbors, and
Fuck
they
off.
are the victims of SNAP fraud. The other victims are the vulnerable and low-income Americans who SNAP is intended to benefit.
Well, why don't
People
you
like-
tell your government not to withhold payments then? Why don't you tell them to end this fucking political charade of trying to attack poor people? Because that's what's happening. And we're not stupid. We're not as stupid as the people who voted for your friends. I don't know who this guy is or who he represents, but
The woman one of my
I know,
special
I gotta
agents
send
told me
those.
about, a working mom of four.
I gotta send those. Stephanie, I gotta show those. And I just haven't been into my email.
From her
I'm so
electronic
sorry. I've
benefits
gotta do
transfer
that.
or EBT card while attempting to pay for food
Yeah,
at the
I'm more
grocery
Christian
store.
than the
And here
Christians.
she asked how she
Okay.
would feed her family for the month until SNAP benefits would next be paid out. Just this week, I spoke to another victim in New York, a working father of 5, whose SNAP EBT card was skimmed and benefits were remotely drained. I've heard many stories from victims like these, working moms and dads.
So
in
why
my
don't we make
6
it
months
easier for
as
them to
Inspector
recover their
General.
money?
USDA OIG is working
Yeah, what
hard
do the
every single
tariffs
day
and the
on
war
behalf
did
of
to
these
farmers?
victims.
Yeah,
They are
fuck
why
you.
SNAP fraud
Fuck
matters.
you.
With limited time, I will highlight some of the prevalent forms of SNAP fraud OIG encounters, though there are many
Oh, it's
others.
the OIG. Okay.
EBT card skimming is a serious concern. Criminals use skimming technology to capture information such as the EBT card number and PIN code. The data captured is then used to clone the victim's EBT card. Criminals will then cash out at the opportune time. The legitimate recipient is left without food assistance. On this easel here is a picture of a skimmer that can be overlaid to a point-of-sale device in as little as 7 seconds. The criminal now controls the EBT card and owns all the dollars that will be loaded to that card.
Uh-oh.
Priority.
Uh-oh.
Today, there are
Uh-oh.
more than 250,000 food retail stores authorized to exchange food for SNAP benefits. They then obtain federal reimbursement for the food they sell. You can think of them as the providers in this program. Unscrupulous retailers will instead use their stores to launder SNAP benefits. An individual will exchange their EBT card for
Not a
cash,
thing
and the
beneficiaries are
retailer
doing.
will extract the remaining value from the card or sell it. But it's not only cash. Picture it as a store in Southern California, involved in an investigation by local and federal law enforcement that OIG supported. SNAP EBT cards were trafficked for cash, exchanged with local gang members at that location for crack cocaine.
Listen.
The gang members then used the proceeds from those SNAP.
Okay, listen. Let me tell you what's happening here. There is a phenomenon that if you have a SNAP card and you would rather have money for it instead of SNAP, because SNAP has it restricts you to it's not uncommon to SNAP card with someone for cash. That's just, I mean, it's not something I don't think it's done normally, and it's certainly probably illegal. But let's think about what this crime actually is. Let's think about, I don't know how often it happens, but I would imagine it's, I mean, the benefits have been, if the person is saying, I'll take money for my benefits, then, whatever. But that's, I mean, to me, this is not the crime that I need them to fight. I don't really give a shit if Joe goes down to the corner and sells his EBT card for cash. I don't really give a shit. I'm sorry. Is that wrong? Because Joe had to go through the motions to get the EBT card in the first place. And let me tell you, it's not easy. I know. Is it glitching? I'm so sorry. Am I glitching? Yeah, it's just not. I know, crack. Yeah, crack cocaine. That's what it is. I just, I feel like there will be times when people will do that. What do I care? What do I care? And you can say gang members and have that be a huge dog whistle. That just doesn't ring the same way as this guy thinks it does. The gang activity is going to happen whether or not there's EBT cards. Give me a fucking break. Okay, good. Give me a fucking break. This is not the crime that I want money being spent on going to find. If you find people who are like applying for mass cards for non-existent people or something like that, great. Yeah, I learned how to make crack from a news segment back in the day. I remember that. So, I just don't, this is one of those things where it's like, make me care. Make me care about that. You want to know, I'm just going to guess that this market in LA is probably a really important place for people. Okay? I have a feeling, because I'm going to tell you, this looks like, I don't know what area of Los Angeles this is, but it could definitely be any one of a number of areas that are food deserts in this city and don't have access to good food or big grocery stores or any of that nonsense, right? But I'm going to tell you who this is serving. This is serving people in the community who don't have a whole fuck ton of money. And it's not a front, it's an actual store. So nothing this guy says is making me convinced that this is what his important suit and how much that cost. It's worth paying him his 6-figure salary to do this or whatever it is. Maybe it's just 5. I don't know.
Cards to purchase guns.
Guns.
All with tax
Yeah,
dollars.
they buy guns.
I'll just repeat that.
I'm sure they do.
SNAP dollars, federal tax dollars used to buy drugs.
Yeah, repeat that.
And guns. And as the district attorney of San Diego shared, just perpetuating the violence already in some of our communities. EBT terminal fraud is also a growing concern. This scheme allows fraudsters to impersonate an authorized retailer and direct SNAP payments to their own bank account. In a recent case, the loss was $66 million. Deterring fraud requires exacting real consequences on those who commit fraud. OIG will continue to investigate, make arrests, and support convictions. Although a strong law enforcement response is critical, we cannot pay and chase our way to stopping SNAP fraud. To be effective, we need to guard the front door by ensuring that proper internal controls at USDA and state administering agencies are in place to prevent
you
fraud.
gotta go.
Adopting modern technology to verify identity and other applicant information before making payments is crucial. In addition to the ability to identify and prevent SNAP fraud, we would benefit tremendously from improved information sharing between the federal government and the states. Although USDA maintains data on authorized retailers, individual states maintain data on their own program participants, and access to this information would allow federal oversight to evaluate the effectiveness of internal controls at the applicant level and help fix vulnerabilities. Finally, low-tech security maintains data on authorized retailers. Individual states maintain data on their own program participants, and access to this information would allow federal oversight to evaluate the effectiveness of internal controls at the applicant level and help fix vulnerabilities. Finally, low-tech security.
Nope. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. Nope. N-O. No, I don't want you to have access to all the recipients of services in this state. I'm sorry. Because I know what you're going to do with that. And see, the thing is, Mr. Walk, we know what the game is. And you may think that this is business as usual, but we actually understand. Yeah, I challenge him to. I really do. I want Mr. Walk to come to LA, and we'll walk around. I'll challenge him to spend a week and see what survival skills he has. Yeah, pretty smart to figure out these scams. Just saying. I mean, come on now. Yeah, is there any evidence to show? No, there's a lot. Well, he's the OIG, so frankly, he should be only evidence. Yeah. Clarence Thomas accepts Venmo and Zelle. Hey, TV2, and I'm not saying this that I'm, am asking you, but I'm just saying, if you ever want to just restream whatever I'm streaming, I am so happy to share with you. So just feel free to restream me. That only is helpful to me, and I don't know, but I don't want to take away from what your programming is. So I hope I'm saying this the right way. But I'm just offering that anytime I'm streaming something, you're so welcome to restream it. I just want to make that really clear. Maybe that's what I just want to say. Yeah, Mr. Walk should take a walk. They're trying every angle to get data from the states. Remember states' rights? I remember those.
Measures associated with SNAP are outmatched by high-tech schemes. Fraud identification, detection, and prevention systems should be updated to meet the tactics and tools of modern fraudsters. Thank you again for the opportunity to testify before this subcommittee on this important topic.
Alabama
I would be
has
pleased to answer any questions you may have.
the highest
Thank you, General.
ABT fraud
Ms.
per
Rowell,
capita.
you're recognized, ma'am.
Well,
Chairman Burchett,
ah,
Ranking Member Stansberry,
who are you?
other members
Oh,
of the
that's a big
subcommittee,
cross.
thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today. The United Council on Welfare Fraud is the only national organization of investigators dedicated.
She's got a whole organization trying to root out fraud and poor people. That's why she needs such a big cross.
To protecting public assistance from fraud, waste, and abuse. We are the professionals
Fucking hell.
dedicated to the prevention, investigation,
embarrassing.
and prosecution of fraud.
What have you been
safeguarding
doing
billions
then?
of taxpayer dollars to ensure our nation's welfare programs remain strong to assist those in need.
So where have you been,
I appear before
lady?
you today as a certified welfare fraud investigator with nearly 2 decades of experience, representing hundreds of investigators who spend their days in the trenches fighting the war against fraud. Also advocating to ensure the laws and regulations that are supposed to be supporting these efforts do so. Unfortunately, too many of the safeguards of our nation's SNAP program have been weakened, delayed, or inconsistently implemented. The result is predictable. Benefits have been exploited, and public confidence has eroded.
Actually,
I first
my
had the honor of
confidence is
appearing before
eroded
this
in
subcommittee
you.
nearly a year and a half ago to discuss the broader issues of fraud. We provided our unique perspective from those dealing with these issues and detailed our recommendations to this panel, many of which were later echoed in the committee's own recommendations. So thank you on behalf of UCOF and the beneficiaries we are protecting. My message today, with the focus on SNAP, 15 months after the subcommittee's first hearing, the passage of H.R. 1, and in light of the nationwide fraud discoveries, is more direct. The time for reflection has passed. Action is needed now.
Look at the guy
SNAP
behind
is a vital
her.
program, but it's broken.
I
Congress has held
I
here.
would like to check his hard drive. Mr. Disheveled back here, who's like a bobblehead, nodding his way for this cunt. It's probably his wife. And what's this? Is this one of those thin blue line bullshit badges? Is this one of those like, I support law enforcement? I tend to drive drunk, but don't pull me over because I support law enforcement. You know, like those people that put a sticker on their car so they think they won't get stopped by cops kind of thing. This is the vibes I'm getting. Yeah, what have you been doing, lady? Jesus Christ, if there's all this fraud, maybe we should be looking at you. I know it is gross. Fuck you and your stupid Talbot suit.
hearings, GAO
Your
has
red
issued
nails. You went to
reports,
the nail
and for
place
its part,
yesterday, right?
UCOF
To
has
get your
submitted
nails
detailed
done.
recommendations to congressional committees,
people.
including this one, to the White House Task Force to Eliminate Fraud, and several cabinet
How's that
agencies.
doing?
The bottom line, SNAP and the beneficiaries who rely on it need you to act. So what is missing? Where is the disconnect? Action, accountability, and support. Growing up,
She
like
does.
you, my family taught
You
me
would be
that
a
actions
great
speak louder than words.
Halloween
But
person.
even more so, what actions we take on a regular basis form our habits, and that creates our character, illustrating our
Can't tell what
priorities.
the other pendant
When
is.
every week brings another screaming headline on another uncovered fraudster, what does this tell us about where we stand on current?
Yeah, you know what, Ms. Royal? What does that tell us? I'd like you to think a little deeper, Miss Royal, at this point. Can you tell me what you think it means that all of a sudden all this fraud is coming out and the whole Nick Shirley, not Nick Sorter thing, right? Anything about that? Anything? No, nothing. Okay. All right. So you don't actually know the context in which you're speaking about all this. Oh my God, all of a sudden we've got all this fraud. Yeah, she went to Tulsi Gabbard's. Oh, I got to find that story about Tulsi Gabbard. Okay, here.
Curbing the incidence of SNAP fraud. If we care as a people, we act. If we don't, the results are predictable. I'd like to share a brief anecdote. One of my colleagues recently brought a case to our attention that illustrates several of the ongoing problems in SNAP. One addressed a one-bedroom efficiency, had 27 SNAP and 12 Medicaid beneficiaries. Logic would suggest it's impossible for all of those beneficiaries to live in a one-bedroom apartment, but this is the program we have fostered. These are the types of circumstances that we're dealing with. Or take another case that is a remnant of the COVID era, long after the end of the public health emergency. There is nothing an investigator, based on current federal policy, can do to prevent a SNAP beneficiary from using their EBT benefits to have eligible items delivered to someone else in another state.
Oh,
So
really?
a
It does
recipient
work.
with an EBT card issued from Nebraska can order a case of Red Bull on Walmart,
Well,
Amazon,
let's go on.
DoorDash, or
That's a
Uber
great-
Eats
actually,
and have it delivered to or picked up by someone in Kentucky. This was permitted during the pandemic, but it's one of the few COVID-era
Secondhand
policies that has
story.
not been
Solid
rescinded,
evidence,
and
Neil
it's fraud.
says.
Benefits delivery should be restricted to the beneficiary's address of record. It's one of the few safeguards the program has.
You know what's interesting about that lady is that I myself have had trouble keeping addresses up to date with the state. And I've done it, but I'm just saying it's not as easy as it seems. And you know what? I just think that people like this, I'm sorry, should live in the world where you don't have access to all of this stuff. And you know, you don't have access to an online computer to change your address. You don't have time because you're trying to work or do something to go down and stand in line at the local office, Social Security office or whatever, to you know, resolve any benefits issues or apply or anything like that. I know that the paperwork is exhaustive, right? So people are filling out exhaustive paperwork, all that kind of stuff. So excuse me, but actually the address of record can be really problematic because A, you could be homeless. B, you could also be, when you move, you just don't update everything right away. Sorry. I mean, that's reality. I'm not saying that, you know, everybody blah, 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 but I'm just saying the reality is people aren't going to keep their addresses up to date, right? They're just not. And so if you're going to use and you're going to hinge things on an address or something like that alone, then you're going to miss some people. Yes, exactly. Thank you, Val. There's also people that are on the road that are mobile. And Val says, if I traveled to my daughter so she could take care of me, yes, I need my groceries where I am. And guess what? You just might be in a position where you're not people may not have capacity to update their, I just think there should be a lot more grace about people that are going through it. Right? Like, that's all I'm asking, is just a touch more grace. You know, it shouldn't be any skin off your nose if somebody is, you know, getting assistance or not. You know, that's just, it's none of my fucking business. And you know what? I think there are enough mechanisms within the state to find the really bad people that are like, I'm going to create a big town full of poor people and I'm going to make it up and I'm going to ask for SNAP for all of them. You know, like, I'm sure something like that, if that's happening, great. Root it out. It's called law enforcement. Yeah, I got kicked off because no address in Florida. I mean, come on, people. This is easy. This happens a lot. You get caught up in some kind of bureaucratic bullshit with your state, they'll fuck you. So, you know what? I think we do enough to poor people to penalize them for being poor. Not that you're poor, I'm just saying. You know, people that are, yeah, you can use mine if you want. Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. Meanwhile, Whiskey Pete Pig's Breath spent $2 million on king crab, $6.9 million on lobster tails, and $15 million on ribeye steak. Oh, and about $200 billion to kill people. Oh my God. Yeah, homeless or without a permanent address is problematic and will lead to issues. And it's also unaffordable to live in one place. So, you know, there you go. Well, get those poor people. What the fuck?
And convenience of this
Sorry,
sort
we're not
only
making it very
encourages
far, and I've
fraudulent
got so
behavior.
much stuff. I've got 19
My written testimony
tabs
that
that I
builds on
need to go
UCOF's
over
comments
with you.
last year, and I promise I won't go point by point, but rather refer it to you as it represents a perspective of those fighting the daily
Yeah.
battles for all of us.
I mean, it's not
Further,
a lot of
it
money.
also serves as a blueprint for the
How
work
much were
that
the
still needs
Cubans?
to be accomplished, not only to protect the millions of SNAP beneficiaries, but also the taxpayers underwriting the program. We urge Congress to legislate where
Yeah, we
authority
love
is
our Val.
needed
It's my
and protect
desert
funds for
sister.
program integrity. We urge
love
USDA
Val.
to fully
I miss
implement the
you.
laws and uniformly enforce its
Val and I
regulations.
hung out in the desert.
Similarly, CMS
so awesome. Oh my
must
God.
resolve the uncertainty fragmenting SNAP
so
and
beautiful.
Medicaid cases due to its inaction. To enforce all of this, the subcommittee, in coordination with authorizers and appropriators, should require written plans with
man.
named officials, measurable
That's the benefit
milestones,
of being
public reporting, and
grown up.
consequences for missed deadlines. Program integrity and compassion are not competing values.
Oh, really?
Strong
Yeah,
oversight of
boxers
SNAP
or
program
shorts. That's
protects
right.
taxpayers
That's a piece
and
of clothing.
recipients. Both parties have a stake in the continuing viability of this program. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The dedicated professionals
you,
at
Dan.
UCOF are committed to helping you and your colleagues preserve SNAP and the rest of our country's social welfare programs. And I welcome questions from you and your colleagues.
Thank you, Ms. Roll. Ms. Gressler, you are recognized for 5 minutes.
He'll touch your butt.
Chairman Burchett, Ranking Member Stansbury, and members of the committee,
I
good
feel
morning,
like I've
and
seen
thank
her
you for the
before.
opportunity to be here today. My name is Rachel Gressler, and I am a Senior Research Fellow at Advancing American Freedom. The American people must report every dollar they earn to the federal government, and they face penalties, audits, and potential prosecution if they don't pay the right amount. Yet, there's remarkably
Yeah,
little
gas
accountability
prices,
for the
yeah.
$4.2 trillion taxpayer dollars that the Washington redistributes across about 100 federal benefit programs. This lack of transparency and accountability is the central problem underlying waste, fraud, and abuse. $184 billion.
She did too, although I
That's the amount that
interrupted
the
her.
federal government reported last year in improper payments.
I interrupted her.
And it's equivalent to about 8 weeks of gas and groceries for every household in America.
What?
That
What?
figure doesn't even include programs that aren't measured or fraud that goes undetected. The GAO reported that taxpayers lose up to $521 billion per year. At the upper end, that's almost 2 months of housing payments for every household in America. It's understandable that many hardworking
up.
Americans are frustrated when they struggle to afford ordinary expenses, even as the
scared me.
government fails to safeguard their taxes. Today, we're talking about the SNAP program, which has exploded over the past
Yeah.
15 years. This growth can't be
What? Oh no, I have a feeling I know where she's going. I have a feeling I know where she's going with this. Oh, she's like, why are there so many poor people? Why? Why? Stop being poor. And now she's going to tell you that the rise in SNAP is because of fraud, not because more people are needing money. Yeah, a third of our poops come out as diamonds. Well, I mean, I would appreciate that. You know, it's weird, Val. 57 here when oh, wow. I don't know what it's like outside. I haven't gone outside yet.
Explained solely based on need.
Oh, okay.
The poverty rate
There
has
you go.
declined since 2008, and yet the percentage of people on SNAP benefits has increased over 50%.
The poverty rate has declined, but the SNAP rate is up 50%. But the poverty rate declined. What do you mean? Oh, she's a former Heritage Foundation cunt. Oh, I got it. I got it. Yeah, any org with freedom in their name. Yep, that's right, Max. Is a fake ass chud. Yeah, AstroTurf bullshit. Yeah, no, this is bullshit. But this is what we're dealing with.
With the explosion in spending has come a
Are you
five-fold
nervous,
increase
Ms.
in improper
Gressler, as you
payments.
try and tell
10.9%
people how
improper payment rate
amazingly
last year,
terrible
equal
poor
to
people are?
$10.2 billion. The incentive
Get
problem
it.
is obvious.
Oh.
The states decide what to spend, and the federal taxpayer foots the bill.
Oh my God.
It doesn't
The
matter
state
whether a
decides
state
what
has
to
a 3%
spend.
improper payment rate like South Dakota,
Yeah,
or
macaroni. The poverty rate
25%
declined during Biden.
like Alaska. The federal government pays it all. H.R. 1 included a huge win for SNAP accountability by requiring states to share in the costs if their improper payments exceed 6%. This is a crucial step towards protecting taxpayer dollars, and it should be extended to other federal programs. It's important to note that much of the outright fraud that occurs, such as that's been discussed by Inspector Walk and Ms. Royal, often isn't counted in the improper payments because it happens after the benefits are delivered. Legal abuse of programs, such as
Weird Nazi
millionaires
started
qualifying
talking
for
with her
benefits
unbearable
because of
voice, and I'm sad now.
eligibility loopholes, also isn't included in improper payments. The Trump
Yeah, I'm
administration
not
and this
doing a
Congress have
happy
taken
show today.
unprecedented steps towards reducing
Another
waste,
bad
fraud,
show.
and
Another
abuse.
sad show. Hey,
Many of
gal.
those actions are in line with my 4 proposals to establish radical transparency
Radical.
and meaningful accountability for taxpayers' dollars.
Meaningful.
First, follow the money.
Yeah.
The federal government should account for the money it spends as carefully as it accounts for the dollars it collects. We can't reduce fraud if we can't follow the money.
You can follow the
Second,
money.
close
You
eligible.
can follow the money. And you know what I think probably happens? States create reports about their expenditures. I would be shocked. I had to do an audit every year as the head of a very small nonprofit. So I don't really understand what the drama is. So there's probably audit results of all these programs that the top line results could be shared and reported back up through the federal government. I pretty much am going to guarantee you that the federal government asks the states for data about the implementation of their SNAP program. I'm going to be really, really clear with you right now. The federal government already has the data on whether, how this is going. And if they would like to actually just, go to a state and say, hey, talk to us about your fraud, and not say, we're not going to send you any money until you send us your, she looks like a tall white, until you send us your voter rolls. You know what I mean? She throat talks to try and protect her voice. Yeah, that's kind of weird. So, yeah, I don't know.
Loopholes. Congress should end legal abuse of federal welfare programs by eliminating broad-based categorical eligibility, which allows individuals to automatically qualify for benefits based on something as trivial as receiving a brochure.
Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, as someone who's gone through the process at a point where I had to have some assistance, it ain't easy. And it's hard. And it's a lot of paperwork, and it's a lot of questions that you don't necessarily have the answer to, especially if you're in crisis, right? Which is when a lot of people are applying for these benefits, is when they're in crisis. I was. So, excuse me, lady, but nobody automatically qualifies And there is always paperwork, confusion, different websites. I mean, it is so confusing. And I have a college education, right? Like, I feel like I'm pretty smart to figure shit out. I had a terrible time with that. And I'm sure I fucked it up, but I'm just saying I had a terrible time navigating that system. So I don't think that, I think she's absolutely incorrect. She doesn't know what real life is because she's been probably taken care of her whole life. You can't sleep with the SCOTUS ruling. I'll catch up with the story while I washed the kitchen floor. Oh, babe. Hi, Kim.
Department of Agriculture estimated that this loophole allowed 5.6 million individuals who were not eligible under federal
every
standards
6 months they
to
review
nonetheless
SNAP
receive
applications. You have to
SNAP
refund.
benefits.
I mean, come on now.
The
It's
No
not
Welfare for the
easy.
Wealthy Act
It's
of
not easy.
2025 would reduce this abuse by requiring households to meet federal standards for SNAP benefits.
Why?
Third,
Why? Why would you meet federal standards? It should be a state by state thing. That's the whole point of the fucking program, cunt. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of the Republicans painting this country as if there's no processes for any kind of accountability. Yeah, there are processes. They've been in place for a long time. It's something people complain about all the time. Oh, all this bureaucracy. Oh, all this reporting. Oh, all this data gathering. I mean, people complain about it all the time. So I'm sorry. But you are completely out of line.
measure improper payments accurately and consistency. Many programs aren't measured at all. Others are measured inconsistently.
I know, the World
And
Cup
some
is really
recent
good. That's
administrations have
distraction, yeah.
intentionally undercounted improper payments.
Oh,
Congress should
true, you
require
are.
all distributors of federal benefits to comply with federal measurement standards and data requests.
How do you know
Failure
they're
to
not
do
doing that?
so should trigger cost sharing.
I know,
or
the federal poverty
disqualification
rate
from
is too
distributing
low.
benefits.
It's not a
And
livable
fourth is to
rate.
expand skin in the game accountability. Without consequences, laws aimed at protecting taxpayers' dollars will fail. Policy
Wait, what? Without consequences? Honey, there is consequences. People are being fucking indicted and shit all the time for this stuff. You're just mad about it now because Nick Shirley, had a swollen left testicle and decided he had to go find something else to do. So he went to Minnesota and started harassing people on the ground there. So, I mean, I'm sorry. You're only here because of some dipshit white kid that has too much time on his hands.
Policymakers should expand H.R. 1's SNAP provisions by imposing
They
fix-it
should
or
play
fund it
birthday
yourself
versus turkey on
requirements across
Thanksgiving
all
Day.
federal
That's so
programs.
good.
Congress has constitutional authority over the purse.
Yes, there you
It does
go,
not
Orrin.
end when taxpayer dollars leave
There you
the
go.
Treasury. Every federal
How
dollar
much
that
is a gallon of
spent
milk in
should be
Hawaii
subject to
versus
the
in
same
Wisconsin?
scrutiny, accountability that is required of taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
But
Ms.
touch your butt. I would like to touch your
Nino
butt.
is recognized.
Good morning, Chairman, Ranking Member, and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. I am an attorney in good standing, and I have represented clients who needed help accessing SNAP because the process was too burdensome. I have seen firsthand the daily struggles families face when food assistance is delayed, denied,
Sorry,
or
I don't mean to interrupt her because she's going to be great. But I just want to say before she really gets into it, that's the other part. There are scam artists and others taking advantage of people to say, oh, I'll help you file. I'll help you do this. I'll help you do that, because it is very hard. So I'm going to tell you, like, there's just, the landscape is fraught with a lot of opportunity to be scammed, because it's really hard to actually get in front of someone at the Social Security office or otherwise to resolve your issues. I can't even, I almost had a nervous breakdown. Seriously, trying to get through with with Social Security and other things that I had to do a few years ago. And it was like, it was one of the hardest times in my life, first of all, just for other reasons. And then having to deal with that was another layer of just like, I can't do it. Like, I don't know. So yes, there are people in the community who actually would assist. The fact that we have to have people in the community that can assist people file for these things is disgusting. Is disgusting. You shouldn't have to be that way. Oh, yay. I've loved watching countries overcoming and qualifying. I know. I was so proud. I'm proud of Iran, proud of Cape Verde. I mean, even the Thais are something. Yeah, you remember, gal. So I'm just going to say, I think that it's really important to give people more assistance, and it should come from the source, because sometimes I got contact from people and I'm like, I have no idea what office they belong to, you know, what agency I was even supposed to deal with. I didn't even know. And I was pretty smart. Now, in the time I was like not thinking straight, so it was harder, but that's what happens when you're in crisis. So, I don't know.
Difficult to obtain. I have also had the opportunity to serve the federal government and saw the hard work state agencies do to help programs operate more efficiently and effectively. I want to begin with a simple point. Program integrity and food access are not competing goals. Congress can protect taxpayers' dollars and protect families from hunger at the same time. But to do that, we must be precise about the problem we are trying to solve. SNAP is not an abstract line item. It is grocery money that allows a grandmother to buy food after paying for prescriptions. It is a support that helps a parent stretch a low paycheck through the end of the month. It is the difference between a child arriving at school ready to learn and a child trying to focus on an empty stomach. In 2024, over 47 million people in the United States live food insecure households, including over 14 million children. Those numbers represent American families making impossible choices every day. SNAP responds to that need. It served over 41 million people in fiscal year 24, and most SNAP households include a child, an older adult, a person with a disability. Many participants work in jobs that pay too little or offer too few stable hours. Others turn to SNAP during a layoff,
to the
a
ground,
health crisis, a caregiving emergency, or a temporary loss of income. SNAP helps people weather hardship, and it helps them move forward.
Yeah, exactly.
That is why
are they supposed to buy your shit?
Every dollar should reach the people who qualify for help.
Point,
But we must not confuse payment errors with fraud. Fraud involves intentional wrongdoing. Payment errors often involve complicated rules, changing work hours, missing paperwork, outdated systems, or agency mistakes. Treating every hour as fraud misdiagnoses the problem. It also drives policies that can punish eligible families instead of fixing the administrative systems that need support.
Yeah.
SNAP already
Even
has
Nazi
one of the
Henry
most
Ford
rigorous
realized
integrity
that.
systems in the federal government. Applicants complete detailed applications, participate in interviews, submit documentation, and have their information checked against federal and state databases.
Exactly.
States conduct ongoing reviews, and the SNAP quality control system re-examines tens of thousands of cases each.
To get disability takes, I don't know, 2 to 3 years, maybe more, depending on the process. 2 to 3 years to get your disability. Think about that. What in the fuck? If you had to wait 2 to 3 years for disability, what do you think happens in the meantime?
Each year. When states identify errors, they must correct them, and where required, submit corrective action plans. The greatest fraud threat facing SNAP households, as my colleague said, today is organized benefit theft. Criminals skim, clone, and phish EBT cards, then drain benefits from households that have already proven their eligibility, costing billions of dollars in taxpayers' money. Behind every claim is a household that expected to buy groceries and instead found an empty account.
And that's not
Congress should focus
unusual.
on the vulnerabilities that actually harm families and taxpayers. That means accelerating chip-enabled EBT cards. Congress should also protect the administrative capacity that makes integrity possible.
Families
States
getting
reduce
benefits
errors when
go
they can
through
hire
more
trained
rigor
eligibility
than
workers,
fucking Steve
modernize
Witkoff and
outdated
Jared
systems,
Kushner,
answer
okay?
phones, process documents on time, and conduct meaningful quality reviews. Cutting administrative support, as HR 1 has done, by shifting an additional 25% to
Exactly.
states while demanding greater accuracy,
Exactly.
runs counter to the goal of accountability. Finally, Congress should evaluate
Gosh.
SNAP performance with a
I don't know. What does that make you think? Does it make you think, since they're shoving 25% of the cost of programs now as a result of the big ugly bill, by the way, you know, that thing that you pay, that you were so happy about, that gave the corporations the actual tax break and all of us the shaft. Oh yeah, tax on tips. I don't give a shit. Yeah, we shouldn't tax tips, and we should pay service people a living wage too. How about that? But yeah, okay.
full set of measures: payment accuracy, benefit theft, timeliness, access, churn, customer service, and participation among eligible households. A state can lower an error rate by making the program harder to
Money
access,
to fight.
but
Oh my
that does
God,
not mean
forget
it
it.
has improved integrity.
If you have to get a
May simply
disability
mean
lawyer,
eligible people who
forget
give
it.
up, missed an interview, could not reach a
If you get a disability lawyer, you can expect to hand over 40% of whatever you get, because you usually get back pay, right? Disability. You get back pay while you've been waiting for your case to be approved. If it is approved, then you'll get that back pay. You want to know what the lawyers take of that? About 40%. About 40%, I think. I think it may vary, but it's a significant percentage of the benefits. And everybody that I encountered was like, "You're going to need a lawyer. You're going to need a lawyer. You're going to need a lawyer." This is ridiculous. You're making people in low income levels find lawyers and then have to turn over a significant portion of whatever they've earned, right? This is money's earned, to a lawyer. Yeah. And if you're super lucky, your girlfriend will then end up stealing it all. It's just a real fucking quagmire.
call center or lost
And
food
we should be
assistance
doing things to
because
make
of
it
paperwork.
easier for people
The
to
right
get the
standard
help
is
that they
clear.
need.
SNAP should be accurate, secure, timely, and accessible. Families should not have to prove their hunger repeatedly through unnecessary barriers. States should not have to choose between service delivery and fiscal survivors. Taxpayers should not expect oversight that targets real risk, not policies that shift costs onto families with the least ability to bear them. SNAP works when it reaches eligible people and protects public resources. We can strengthen both. I urge you to invest in secure payment technology, restore and preserve strong federal state administrative support, measure what truly matters, and keep the human impact at the center of every integrity discussion that has caused over 4 million individuals losing SNAP benefits since the passage of HR 1. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, ma'am. And I will commend all y'all. You got it done in 5 minutes, which is kind of incredible. So y'all get your rewards in heaven, all right? Because this is a subcommittee. We don't even have food back here. Anyway, thank y'all. And I now recognize myself for 5 minutes of questions.
No, I don't think I can handle it.
This is for all y'all. According to nonpartisan anti-fraud experts, improved data sharing is needed to better identify and prevent fraud in federal benefit programs, especially those administered by the states. But 21 states have for the past year refused to provide food stamp data with the Department of Agriculture. The Agriculture Department identified $3 billion in potential fraud just from the food stamp data submitted by 29 states. That includes benefits going to 186,000 deceased individuals and to 442,000 beneficiaries with fake Social Security numbers. Based on these results, is it fair to assume the Trump administration could identify additional fraud if it had the data from 21 non-compliant states? Ms. Platonino? Thank you, ma'am.
Platonino.
Say it one more time for me.
Platonino.
They've told me this back here, and I'm just terrible. I apologize.
That's okay.
I'm going to get it.
That's all right.
No, don't bother.
Thank you for the question. The Privacy Act of 74 and the paperwork reduction of 80 creates a balance between Congress and the executive branch to make sure that we protect the privacy of Americans. The data that USDA handles and the states handles has a high rigorous quality control measures that are important to protect the safety of American families. The data request that is being asked goes above and beyond that. It asks for 5 years of Americans' families' data, including HIPAA-protected information, whether or not they were eligible, whether or not they apply. So think about the 15-year-old child and single mother who applied during the pandemic, and right after they found a job, now that 15-year-old child with many medical needs, that information will go over to an entity that we don't know what sort of protections and privacy will go forward.
Right.
The quality control program, as USDA has stated, has rigorous control measures, and the data that is currently being sent by those states is randomized and anonymized to protect privacy of American individuals.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Gressler?
Yes, it is absolutely fair to assume that you could catch significantly more fraud if you take 50 different siloed databases and compile them together. And just one example of that is that the same Social Security number could be used to claim food stamps in 50 states plus the District of Columbia. And none of those states will know that because they don't have access to the other one.
There's no cohesive
How much
force
does that
between the two.
happen?
There's-
Can I have data on that? How much does that happen, ma'am? Really, how much does that happen? I want to know. I want the data. We're going to have to start being a little more data driven here, bitch. Okay? Yeah, you're going to have to explain to me, cunt, why, how much this happens. I feel like it's a lie, Oren. I don't know what the systems are, but I feel like that's a lie.
No, as we found with the IRS and a lot of our agencies, the computers just don't hook up. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, they're not looking across them, and essentially the federal government is granting a blank check to the states to apply these programs, and yet they're not returning the data per the recent request to be able.
Is that seems like a big lie. Now, what they want is voter rolls. Hello? They want which I don't know about you, but I don't eat my ballot. Yeah, exactly. Just because it could happen doesn't mean it does. I know. It is hard to ignore. Her voice is
to
pretty
ensure
bad.
the integrity of those dollars.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Ms.
Shane.
Royal?
Put the money in the bag,
Ms.
Shane.
Gressler did an excellent job of answering that question. Of course, more data is going to be able for us to identify more fraud.
Who
The
are
trouble right
you?
now, states don't have access
Nobody
to
even knows who
information
you
if,
are.
A recipient or applicant is already receiving benefits in another state. There is a question on the application that requires the applicant to provide that information. You know, have you received benefits in another state? If so, which one?
Yeah.
If they mark no to that, then as an investigator, there's no way for me to contact another state to verify that.
Are you kidding
So
me?
having access to the
You're kidding me, right? Well, then, I mean, is it happening? Do we even know if it's happening? Yeah, I can't get Medicare in California and also Medicare in Arizona. I mean, if you've been to the Social Security database, have you checked myssa.gov? Have you ever been on that website, myssa.gov? That's the Social Security Administration website. It's like a little bit of a Fort Knox. Okay? You can't just, you're one person in their system. You're one person in the Social Security system. That's it. And it all goes through. My state level shit was always tied to my SSA.gov. This is weird.
data, making sure that benefits
Weird.
aren't already being issued by another state, and preventing dual issuance would be a significant savings to the taxpayer.
What is that?
Inspector General?
What is the significant? I'm so mad. I'm so mad. Okay, why do we not require people who make very big statements like that? Would be a huge savings for the taxpayer. You haven't even told me what the scope of the problem is. You have not. Exactly. You get locked out of the SS website. Yeah, exactly. But you haven't even told us how often this happens. How can you say it's going to be a significant savings to the taxpayer? These are important lies that need more context.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I can just
Right?
give a couple of examples. So with OIG, and I'll just speak from OIG's perspective. I know
hate this
USDA
place.
is doing
Hate
a
this place.
separate data request,
I
but
can't.
about a year ago, under my predecessor, OIG requested
It
data
is
from the
glitchy as
top
fuck.
10 SNAP states in terms of spending in order to review integrity and quality of state data. We've released one report very recently from Ohio and found $13.3 million in
Great.
anomalies that would not have otherwise been found because
Great.
we were able to work with the state. The state, before that report even became public, started working on those anomalies
That's
to be
what
able
we
to figure
do.
out what was actually going on.
Yeah, here we go.
Puerto Rico, although not one of the state agencies that we were looking at, their comptroller general looked at their own data and came up with found $150 million of NAP benefits that went to dead people. 38,000 dead people that received that nutrition dollars. And almost
I would like to read
immediately,
his
we went down to
report.
Puerto Rico and met with the comptroller general and
What
with
is
their
he, the OIG
IG
of?
to talk through that, to talk through how we can help from a federal perspective to exercise federal oversight. Because the states
USDA.
have this participant data, if we don't have it, we can't even find the vulnerabilities, much less start to collaborate about how we can go about changing it. And today, we have 6 of those 10 states that have provided the data. 4 have continued to object after a year. And I recently ordered subpoenas for that data, and we're still waiting on it.
What data?
Thank you.
What data did he ask for? Thank you, Lee.
Went over a little bit. As chairman, I'm allowed to do that apparently, but I hate it when they do.
No,
When I
you're
asked
not.
about Secretary Rollins directed the
I
state.
fucked up. Hold on. Let me get to some Democrats because frankly, I can't really handle this. I can't really handle this.
Of Project 2025. You have any involvement in it?
I was
Yes, sir. It's a yes or no.
Walk-in
Yes, I
Shaw,
was a
awesome.
volunteer.
Limited involvement, maybe.
I was a volunteer,
Okay.
sir.
Oh,
Before
he's a
you were
Project
nominated
2025
as IG,
bitch.
you were a political appointee, USDA.
I was actually the judicial officer at USDA since December 2020. 2020.
Were you a political appointee at any point in your career in the Trump administration?
Sure, I was a
Okay.
political appointee after nearly 10 years as a career employee at
Before your nomination
Okay,
as IG, did you have any experience specifically in auditing? Did you ever serve as an auditor?
When I was at the Homeland Security Department, one of my first assignments as an attorney was to provide advice
You provided legal advice to auditors.
about our Inspector General audits.
You never conducted any audits.
No.
Did you ever work in an IG's office as a deputy staff member, ever work in any IG office at any level before your nomination?
No, I did not work at an IG's office.
Okay.
Whoopsie.
During your tenure
I
as
love
IG
these
at
guys.
USDA, have you recused yourself from any matters involving decisions you made during your tenure previously as an advisor to the agency?
I'm not.
You haven't found the need to, or you've made a decision that you're not going to recuse? You don't think you need to recuse if you were involved in anything, or you just...
Sure. I've spoken with counsel and as well as the career ethics official at USDA, and there have been no issues raised that has required my recusal based on their
Oh,
counsel.
so you mean your bosses?
Interesting. Okay.
Your bosses?
Your
said, "Nah, don't worry
predecessor,
about it."
IG Fong, had 22 years of experience. Before she became IG, she had IG experience before that. Bipartisan credibility, Mr. Chairman. You can go back and watch the videos in this committee. I stood in this room and watched Democrats and Republicans praise her work. She was fired by President Trump because he doesn't want independent IGs with experience. He wants you.
Ooh,
No IG
that
experience, no audit experience, a political
I
actor
like
and a
Walk-in
political
Shaw.
appointee.
Yeah. And he's
Snap
kinda
fraud is a
sexy.
real issue. And that's why we need
Something a little sexy
qualified,
about the Clark Kent
independent,
shit.
nonpartisan, non-political IGs. The Trump administration has systematically fired them. But let's talk about some waste, fraud, and abuse. I went down to the reflecting pool yesterday. Check out the president's new project. This guy here, and I don't like to judge a book by its cover. Appearances can be deceiving.
Certified badass.
But sometimes if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck and dresses like a duck, it is a crook.
Oh my God.
This is John Carafo. He's a crook. He pled guilty to bribery and campaign finance violations.
Holy
Longtime
shit, I love
Republican
this
donor.
guy.
Got a $1.7 million no-bid contract to filter the water at the reflecting pool. I went down to check it out
Oh my God.
yesterday.
I love this. Don't touch the
Somewhat
water. You'll get
ironically, I didn't
arrested.
believe this when I was told it. His company's name is Green Water Services. President promised us beautiful blue water. Gave a contract to this crook who gave us green water, algae, and dying ducks.
Cafaros
Mr. Chairman, at some point, this committee will have to address the waste, fraud, the abuse that's
He's gonna
taking
get a
place
fan
in this
email, yeah.
administration. The wolves are in the House. They're in the White House. The waste, the fraud, and abuse is happening under our own eyes.
Exactly.
And this
so ridiculous.
DOJ committee committed to government efficiency hears no evil and sees no evil, because this is the president's buddy from Mar-a-Lago. Said he's a great guy.
Working in prison.
The president and this Congress, this Republican Congress, have literally taken food from the mouths of hungry children, and they're putting it in the pockets of crooks like this.
Fuck.
If that's not fraudulent, Mr. Chairman, I don't know what is. I yield back.
Thank you. Well
Thank you.
done.
Now yield to 5 minutes to Mr. Cloud.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I appreciate you holding this hearing, us getting rid of the waste, fraud, and abuse.
Yeah,
in our
okay.
government
Well, let's
is
get rid of
extremely
your
important.
waste, fraud, and abuse.
Ms.
Oh, I
Gessler,
can't
think you
stand this
mentioned
guy. He
$184
creeps me the
billion in
fuck out.
fraud, in just a
Sorry.
year.
Yeah, that's about your fucking...
Which is
Wait, let me make sure I've got everybody here. I don't want to hear a thing. I don't want to hear a thing.
Mr. Timmons, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank you for holding
That's
this
good.
hearing. There's a huge opportunity to get government benefits to people that need them and deny government benefits to people that do not qualify for them. And it's an incredibly important issue. Hundreds of billions of dollars every decade are lost to
Oh, yeah.
waste, fraud, and
Definitely,
abuse.
Mom.
And we've actually
That
been working on
caller?
a bill that actually passed this committee. It passed this committee unanimously.
Is
That
this a
doesn't happen
Republican, I
often,
think?
But it's called the TABS Act, Timely and Accurate Benefits. And what it does is it uses technology to confirm that a person does not make enough money. And
Yeah.
what you do is you log into
Government creeps.
website, you then go to your bank, you then go to your Cash App, your Zelle, your Venmo, and you would then get benefits immediately. And if you make too much money, you do not get benefits. And it is just using technology to make sure that we're being efficient with our
really?
resources.
Is that all
Ms.
it
Royal,
is?
are you familiar with this proposal?
I'm not familiar with the
Oh,
proposal.
so
but
you're
based on
really
what you
well-versed in this
described, I'm
topic?
going to get familiar with it because
Okay,
it sounds
I
wonderful.
can't.
So
I'm
the
sorry.
congressional
I
benefits
don't.
quickly to people that deserve them and deny individuals that are trying to take advantage of the system is just, it's
For us to be
Are
wasteful with
these
those
all
dollars
fucking... Oh,
is
these
not
are all
acceptable. But for,
Republicans.
unfortunately, for many in the federal government, your
There's
hard-earned
no
dollars
Democrats
are an
on this.
afterthought. That's part of the reason why
Told me he was skimmed more than once. The card was replaced and he was skimmed again. He showed me on his device that how the money got into his account at about midnight. They were sitting on that account.
I always find it fascinating to hear how people talk about low-income people. But let me just start out with some facts. Can any of our panelists here answer the question, by dollar, what are the top 3 causes of improper payments, waste, fraud, and abuse in SNAP?
Yeah, and yeah, Ohio. That's right, Kim.
Nobody wants to volunteer? Top 3.
Number 1 would be eligibility errors.
Wrong. It is improper payments. It's improper payments. It's an intentional SNAP fraud. And the third is criminal organizations who are actually explicitly stealing people's SNAP benefits. That is what is the top 3 causes of SNAP fraud and the loss of federal taxpayer dollars. It's actual criminal organizations. Does anyone on the panel know what the penalties are for committing SNAP fraud? Raise your hand. Anyone know? Yep, please, Ms. Royale.
There are different penalties. An individual who is found guilty of committing SNAP fraud is subject to criminal prosecution, incarceration, fines, and restitution.
Yep, so it's
Somebody who is found guilty of an intentional program violation is subject to disqualification, either 12 months, 24 months, permanent, or a 10-year other special disqualification penalties.
Excellent, yes. And in fact, in some cases with extreme fraud can be up to $250,000 and 20 years in prison. All right, who can answer about what the average individual receives per month in SNAP benefits? Ms. Platanino.
For a household too, it's less than $320 a month.
Yep,
And about
that's right.
per person, what would you say?
It's about $200.
Yeah, so it depends on the household and the beneficiaries, but
That's
when
how
you
much it
average
is.
it out, according to the USDA, it comes out to between about $174 and $177 per person per month. And so when you break that down, that's about $6 a day, right? $6 a day. Can anyone answer who is the #1 beneficiary of SNAP benefits? Ms. Platanino.
Retailers, because the money goes straight into the retailers' stores and then goes and offers up into the local economy, raising taxes and increasing wages.
But in terms of the actual beneficiaries, in terms of the
Children.
people who receive the SNAP benefits, but yes, the economic
children follow.
downstream impacts.
Yes, it's children followed by older adults and people with disabilities.
Exactly. 39% of SNAP beneficiaries are children under 18 years old. Not fraudsters, children. 10% people living with disabilities, 20% older adults over 60. The vast majority of SNAP recipients are not committing fraud. They are children, they are people living with disabilities, and they are seniors. Now, I'm gonna save you because I know many people have don't wanna share this publicly, but I would ask if any of you have actually been on SNAP benefits. And I wanna say publicly, there's no shame in being on SNAP benefits because it is a program that was created to help people who are struggling. It's to help grandparents who are taking care of children. It's to help take care of kids who are in the foster care system. It's there so that when a mom goes through a divorce and she loses her job and is having a hard time, she can take care of her kids. That's what the SNAP program exists for. It is a bridge. It doesn't even cover the cost. I would like to know, can any single person on this panel feed your family for $174 a month? Anybody? Can anybody in this room feed your family for $174 a month? Anybody? Not a single hand in the room? Yeah, okay. This is not a joke, my friend. Let's get real here. There is actual waste, fraud, and abuse in this system. It's criminal activity. It's activity that is just like every single financial system out there. There are bad people who take advantage of financial systems. But the vast majority of beneficiaries of this program are seniors, children, and people living with disabilities. And when you make it harder for them to access benefits, then it means that they go hungry. They skip meals. They don't have access to food. They go to our food banks, who are already struggling because of the cuts that were put in this budget to cut other programs that put food to our food banks. And essentially, it leaves our people, our children, our seniors, our grandparents without access to food. And so, Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to work with you on bipartisan efforts to deal with criminal activity involving waste, fraud, and abuse in SNAP, but I will not support cutting programs for people who need them. I yield back.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, we have Representative Fallon
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
from Texas.
Oh, no, this guy is creepy too. Look at his hair.
Unlike some of us, we're not in a classroom, so I'm not going to ask anybody to raise your hands. Okay, we'll just have a civil conversation. Miss, is it Platanino? Am I saying it correctly? Okay.
Why is everyone having a hard time with this woman's name?
You've worked for how long in your current position?
I got to listen to him.
Over a year.
Okay. All right. And did you have related jobs that were similar?
I served as an attorney for multiple years representing low-income individuals in various public benefit programs.
Okay. Did you know what the amount the federal government spent in SNAP benefits in fiscal year 2019 was?
2019.
Not off the top of my head.
And I'm not going to try to play gotcha. It was $65 billion. And then in 2025, do you think it went up or down from that number?
It went up because of the pandemic and the job loss and the
Yeah, but
economy.
the pandemic has long since been over. For several years at this point, it was $102 billion, which is a massive increase of 68%.
Can't y'all just get over that pandemic? Yeah, I know you lost your job. Yeah, I know. I know that. But you know what? Can't you just get over it? Just get over it. What's wrong? Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Yeah,
And
he
yet
hangs out at
the
the mall.
GDP per capita, if you adjust for inflation, is only 8.9%. So that's quite a leap and quite a difference. And according to the GAO, at minimum, we're looking at $300 million in fraud or waste.
At
and abuse.
minimum?
And of course, I think we
Where?
all could agree that the reality is far more. Would you agree that in a perfect world, there shouldn't be any American that needs SNAP benefits?
Americans want to have jobs and employment, so if the economy is strong,
Yeah,
absolutely.
in a perfect world, there would literally be no one on SNAP. That's what we're all working toward. Ironically, you'd be working toward finding another job.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
That's
that would
what
be
we do in
amazing.
nonprofit.
Do you think that?
Let me tell you something about people that work in nonprofit. I worked in nonprofits for over 20 years, about 22 years. And let me tell you something that the reason people are in nonprofit, okay, is because we actually did want ourselves out of a job. Okay? I when I was working at the anti-slavery organization in Washington, D.C., we were working towards an end to slavery. And that just means, yeah, I would get another job. You know, I'm going to be honest with you. I think people that work in nonprofits have a very different view of what it is they're doing and what they're working towards. Because in a case like that, you are working to maybe you're working to make yourself unnecessary. Okay? Because if the problem is solved, you'll move on to the next problem. Yeah, what would Jesus do? I'm going to tell you right now, like this is the mindset of working in nonprofit. I don't know about you all, but when I had the mindset in working in nonprofit for 2 decades, it was very much about making a conscious choice not to be in the private sector, but to stay in the nonprofit sector. And I knew I was going to get paid less than I could make in the private sector. I made choices. I enjoyed the work very much, you know. And I always was like, if my organization, my mission is met, then yay, you know, like, yay, that would be amazing. So yeah, I want to make myself obsolete. You should think about that. You should think about that way, sir. You should be a servant leader. Yeah, this galoot would be spreading tar on a road. Oh my God. And I'm not sure what's going on with these ties. I think it must be a college thing, but check out the guy with the matching tie behind him. You see that? Look at the tie is red with these white. I think it's a college tie. I'm not really sure. But this kid has the same tie on. Like they tied each other's ties this morning. Just saying.
Able-bodied, able-minded, non-elderly adults should be eligible for
Oh
SNAP
my
benefits.
God. Yeah, maybe.
Philosophically.
It depends.
Individuals who need SNAP and who need the resources should be
Oh my
eligible for
God.
SNAP.
Do you think that if you're able-bodied, able-minded, you're non-elderly?
I don't know
you
your
should
other
receive SNAP benefits?
situations. This is
It's a
a
matter of-
stupid question. You don't know what I think the state will determine whether or not the person is eligible for benefits or not. And guess what? If you go for disability, boy, you're playing the long game. Okay. That's what I'm saying. And then you're going to end up in front of a judge and they're going to decide if you're disabled or not. You understand? That's how it works. It's very scientific, actually, to be honest with you. It's very scientific. And there's doctor visits and there's all kinds of things that go into it. And it takes years. So, boy, if you're playing that con for disability, wow, you are really, you're a real deep criminal, because I don't know why I would commit to a 5-year con just for a whatever, 30,000, whatever payout you get, 20,000, 30, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, give me a break. Give me a break.
Having job sufficiency and available jobs. And
So you think yes?
Or they're
Sounds to me that's what you're
underemployed.
answering.
Or they're
That an able-bodied,
underemployed.
able-minded
Yeah,
person-
if people are able-bodied and working, but they're underemployed and they're not making enough to make ends meet, then yeah, I think they should get some assistance. Oh my God. Why are we attacking the people that get the stuff when in fact it's criminal enterprises that are perpetrating fraud? But this guy is so interested in going after Meemaw. What? What the fuck?
Should be eligible for SNAP benefits. I
Been there, done
philosophically
that.
disagree.
Slept on the
I
floor
think
of
it's shocking
someone's
that
house for a
21%
while
of the
with my
people on
kiddo.
SNAP are non-elderly,
Okay.
able-bodied,
Listen,
able-minded.
I've
It
been
costs
there
the
and done
American
it.
taxpayers $18 billion, and there's 8.8 million of those folks.
Oh,
Does that sound
Jesus
like a large number?
Christ.
I think is an incorrect number,
Yeah.
since many individuals do have disabilities who have been undiagnosed.
Well,
and
this is
because of
able-bodied,
healthcare costs
able-minded, but-
cannot be able to prove those disabilities.
You know, I've been in Congress 6 years now, and when people come into our office, and there's a various array
There's
of
like no
fields that
Democrats
they
in this.
work in, that every single one of them has something in common. They are desperate for labor. The unemployment rate is very low, and
Thank you for your
Okay.
testimony.
Oh, no, you're not.
And I know that my colleague, Mr.
Anybody
Fallon,
a
covered this
Democrat?
briefly, but I understand that by the direction of our Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins, the USDA requested SNAP participant eligibility data from all 50 states to ensure that
This is literally stupid. Oh my God, no.
Would be for Ms.
Absolutely not
Gressler.
doing this.
SNAP recipients have significantly higher rates of obesity, specifically.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I can't do it. I can't do it. Laura Malcolm, she also streams MS Now from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. weekdays. We usually have a good time. How sweet. Where are you guys at, Macaroni? Is that Laura Malcolm? Is that the name of her channel? Let me look it up. Is it a YouTube? It's a YouTube channel? Oh, I see. Okay, let me subscribe. Let me link her. I'm gonna link her. Wow, Macaroni with all the recommendations today. There's the channel of the lady you're talking about. Sounds like fun. Make employers pay people enough to live. How about that? Let's just turn this frown upside down and figure out how to make this actually work for people. Oh, political drain. Yes. Yes. I can't hear you, by the way, but I loves you, sister. I love you too, TV2. I love you. He's showing, oh, by the way, I just saw, because I went to find Laura Malcolm, I just saw that TV2 is streaming the Mullen hearing, Mark Wayne Mullen Muffinhead. So pops Mac in arm for no reason. So yeah, totally. Pops Mac in the arm for no reason. Oh, that's cute. Anyway, yeah, highly recommend. Oh, good. Subscribe to Laura. Excellent. my landscaper had a stroke in his early 20s, and he's had many health issues since that prohibit him from holding a 40-hour-a-week job. He looks to be able-bodied and will likely get kicked off Medicaid. Yep. That's right. Never mind the fact that SNAP and all this eligibility stuff doesn't help you get child care, or if you have a disabled child, or if you're taking care of an elderly parent. It doesn't all help with that, the cost of that too. So going out and getting a job sometimes is precluded by the fact that there's no one home to take care of whomever needs to be home. You know what I'm saying? And this whole thing about people on SNAP benefits are obese. Fuck you, Loomer. You fucking Russian asset. You fucking piece of shit. You fucking piece of shit.
Got it. Something about who these folks are. And everybody
You have another
on this
question,
panel.
Madam Ranking Member.
Well, yeah, no, I do, but I didn't get an answer to a question.
So the
How
record
can
will
it
so
be-
reflect.
Thank
Please
you.
ask your next
Okay,
question.
and I will.
Oh,
This
no, I'm
has
gonna
to
go
do.
back. I want to see Deloro. She's great. Wait. Who's that?
Because it's been kept alive, first of all, for our veterans, but
Sorry, we're
also
switching
for
to
the men and
Mullen.
women that keep us safe.
Muffin
The
head.
process to immigrate, the process to become a citizen in US, CIS,
Exactly.
and what they go through, it's an overload of work. I know it well,
Yeah.
again, because we went through the process. So while becoming a citizen is an incredible privilege and it should never be taken for granted, I valued every time and whatever work my parents and myself had to do to become citizens, we'll do it 10 times over to do it again, because
Will
this
you?
is the best
Okay,
nation
good.
of the world. And I'd rather be here than
I'm
anywhere
happy to
else.
hear it.
So
Enforcing. But I also want to remind people that let's not forget what was a Trump administration policy initiated by Stephen Miller, which was to let us separate children from their families at the border, because this would be a way to curtail or to stop immigration, separating children from their families, how to hurt them the most. I asked and had a phone conversation with Secretary Azar at the time. I know I was in my living room with my 2-year-old grandson on my lap trying to have this conversation. And I asked him if there was a way in which he had a list of how you could reunite children with their families. And he assured me that we did. You know, when you take your clothes to the cleaners, they give you a tag, and you then go back and you retrieve your clothes. When you get luggage, you go and get your luggage is returned. Well,
I wish the Biden administration would have done that.
Let me just say this to you, sir. Again, it is my time. 3,900 children were separated from their families.
450,000 kids were lost during the Biden
That is
administration.
not
You didn't
true.
say a word
Mr.
about it.
Secretary,
That is
do
not
not
true.
interrupt.
Don't you point your finger at me. Don't
I
be a
will
hypocrite.
point my finger
Don't you be
at
a hypocrite
you.
then. Then you be as
3,900
you should be
kids.
as upset about the
I
450,000
am
kids that
upset.
were lost.
and
You didn't say a word about it. For 4 years, you never said a word.
Mr. Secretary.
Could you put him in his place for
Don't yell at
You
me.
should
I'm
be
the
put in
good
your
guy.
place.
Mr. Secretary, if you would like 4 minutes for a closing statement when everybody's done, I'll give you that. But while members are on their 8 minutes, I need them to have their 8 minutes.
Mr.
started
Chairman,
my
I
comments.
appreciate that. My issue is that they say this for sound bites, and I'm not going to let them say something
What did
like
you
that
do
that's not
just
true.
recently for sound bites? I sympathize with the 400.
We are going to have something resembling order here. The time is the ranking members. If you would like to respond later on, there are methods to do that, but it's not a who can talk louder into the mic.
It's not.
So you are recognized.
Thank you very
I
much.
will not let her sit there and lie and accuse something this ridiculous.
Well, this is the legislative branch, and it's my hearing, and so I'm going to try to some extent to control it moderately.
And do
Thank you.
not accuse me of lying. Do not.
Then don't.
I do not. I appreciate, and I said to you at the outset, there's concern for children across the board. We care deeply about what's happening to children. And I went to the border and I watched children in those fenced-in places years ago and what was happening to them. So I have a long history,
Mark Wayne Mullen is
Mr.
worse than
Secretary, in this
Christy
area.
Nome.
3,900
How about that?
kids were separated.
Really pissed me off, Dan.
Secretary Azar told me he had a way to reunite them. Many of them were not reunited till today. And I don't want you to answer this now. Please get back to us and tell us what you are doing with regard to the settlement in terms of this issue, which is out there, which your
Okay, Deloro, hold it together.
department
Hold it
needs to
together.
come close to.
Come
I'll
on,
make
girl.
a statement to you
Yeah,
again,
muffin head.
but this is fact from the bill, Mr. Chairman.
She does.
The bill that
Love
the
Deloro.
Republicans have proposed for funding the Department of Homeland Security cuts cybersecurity budget by more than $250 million. It cuts the TSA by nearly $350 million. And the Trump administration is openly advocating for privatizing TSA while trying to eliminate their collective bargaining rights. We all know what happened earlier this year. TSA workers endured the longest government shutdown in history. There was a lot of discussion and talk invoked about the long lines and the use of leverage to force through a Homeland Security bill without any reforms to what were critical ICE and CBP reforms that were necessary, that the American people wanted and were clamoring for. They didn't want to continue to see masked marauders on their streets with just harassing people. Congress eventually passed my legislation that paid TSA workers, funded FEMA, CISA, Secret Service, and the Coast Guard. And today, and it took you 79 days on the Republican side to make that decision to pay these people instead of just talking about paying this. The administration continues to attempt to walk away from the collective bargaining agreement with TSA workers, something that the federal courts have now twice said is illegal. Indeed, your testimony frames the attempt to force over 200 smaller airports in this country into a new security structure as a setting. And quote, the TSA, this is in the testimony, the TSA is on the path to privatization. My question on this issue is, given all that the transportation security offers did for us during a Republican shutdown, how can it be that the department's position is that TSA workers should not be granted the same basic labor protections as federal enforcement officers? How can it be that your priority is to have them work for the lowest bidder, where the wages and the benefits of these workers will unquestionably be lower?
Well, actually, it was the Democrats that voted every time to shut them down. Republicans voted every time to open them up.
Pass. Just give me
we
the
didn't
answer
shut them
to my
down. You
question.
shut them down.
Answer my question.
I did.
What are you doing? Why are you moving?
Ma'am, I answered your question. You were the one that shut them down. The Democrats shut down. How many times did you vote to shut them down?
Why? You know, these people come to us to get funding for for the work that they do, and we.
I'm actually factually correct. I'm factually correct. You voted to shut them down. Republicans voted to open them over and over and over again. Your vote clearly stated that you voted to shut us down. It wasn't until it became popular, and then, by the way, ICE agents came there and helped bring the lines down. The same people that you also kept shut down.
He's got a stress ball. Look at his stress ball. Look at his stress ball. Look at his stress ball. He's got a stress ball. Hi, K9. How are you, sweetheart? He has a stress ball, everybody. He's got a little, like a testicle colored stress ball. Like it's a big inflamed testicle. He's massaging his testicle. Look, I don't even believe this. Somebody get him a fidget spinner.
Secretary.
I can't
I'm answering the
believe
question.
this.
No, you
I thought
didn't,
you said you answered it.
Oh my
The floor
God.
is hers.
My dear.
Yeah,
Actually, I gave it to her. You know, there is a chairman of a committee. That's
Oh.
me. I gave it back to her.
This tells
She's
you
got it.
something about who these folks are. and everybody
have another
on this
question, Madam
panel.
Ranking
Well,
Member?
yeah, no, I do, but I didn't get an answer to a question.
So the
How
record
can
will
it
so
be-
reflect.
Thank you.
Please ask your next
Okay,
question.
and I will. This has to do with
I
FEMA.
love her so much.
Simple question. And I want to start where I left
I
off
never
with
trust a
Secretary
man
Noem
with a
last
first name
year.
that's two
FEMA.
names.
Simple yes or no. Do you support eliminating FEMA? Do you support eliminating FEMA?
There's portions of FEMA that
Do you
needs to be back to the
support
state.
eliminating
There's no yes or
FEMA?
no question on that.
Yeah,
There's
no,
portions that need to go back to the state.
eliminating FEMA.
If you go back to the states, who's paying for it? Listen to what he is saying, people, because they are telling you what they're doing. Hello? Who's going to pay for the stuff that's sent back to the states? Literally. Yeah, his DHS is burning through money like crazy, probably because he's buying a bunch of rubber testicles. Wasted on the concentration camps, which they're now having to sell or something, right? I haven't looked into that lately, but we do need to go back to the warehouse stuff. Yeah, he holds it in his hand so Slump can get to it more quickly. Teabagging the president. Anyway.
The record will reflect the response.
The
record will reflect the response. Is there another question?
It. Yeah, because let me just say, in April of 2025, the Trump administration prematurely, I'm glad we got that answer, because the poor gentleman who came before, it may have been with you, Mr. Chairman, that came before our committee, and I asked him this question, and he said, because Secretary Noem said, yes, she and the president wanted to eliminate FEMA. The gentleman said that he said it should be reformed, and the next day he was fired. Let it show that the secretary believes that we should shut FEMA down.
I never
April
said that.
2025, the prematurely,
The record will
unlawfully
reflect what you did and didn't
ended
say accurately.
FEMA's BRIC program. He intentionally halted roughly 2,000 active infrastructure and disaster mitigation projects across the country, including one in downtown New Haven, Connecticut. A coalition of 22 states and D.C. sued FEMA. A federal judge ruled in favor of the states in December, mandated that FEMA restore the over $3.6 billion in canceled funding. At the beginning of March, the judge had to order FEMA to comply with that ruling. 3 months ago, the day after you took over as secretary, FEMA formally announced a, quote, new and improved BRIC program. Yet, almost all of these communities are still waiting for their BRIC funding to be restored. Tell me, Mr. Secretary, when can communities with halted projects expect to receive their BRIC funding?
We actually restarted that when I first came in.
Absolutely.
We did 24 or 25 of them. So
You've done 24 of the 25
Yes,
of the
ma'am.
2,000.
I mean, let me clarify that. So
Please.
2024 and 2025, they sent out the notice of notification so everybody can now submit, and those projects that were already submitted for those times period will be
How many projects are there?
We can get you the details.
Please, there were 2,000 that we started with.
The Secretary also provided direction for 2026 to get the NOFOs out on that, and that'll come out sometime in September. The Secretary has done more to get.
I do not need your, you do not need to.
I just want to make sure you're clear.
Well, please.
Okay.
Spare us.
She's clear.
You know, just give me the facts.
She's clear.
Give me the numbers. Let me just conclude, Mr. Chairman, and thank
What
you.
county
I would
was that,
like
Lee?
to
Wayne
work
County.
in an open and transparent way, because that BRIC funding for New Haven, Connecticut, which I probably will not get because I'm in a blue state, that the BRIC funding for New Haven, Connecticut is important, which is why we support the programs, bipartisan support for the BRIC program. So please, let's get the NOFOs out as quickly as possible and get the money to the communities that need them. My final comment to you is, I'd just like to go back a second. We need to go back to the issue of deaths in custody. It doesn't do anyone good to deflect, talk about what's happening in the criminal system in Illinois or in Oklahoma. What we need, because 54 deaths are 54, in what is civil detention, we need a plan to address the fact that 54 people in your department has had They were in civil detention. It's not criminal detention, are dead. They should not be. We need to hear from you. I don't need an answer. Now there is no time. I've taken an enormous amount of time. Get us a policy, a plan, in a timely fashion that says how are we going to deal with these issues. I yield back and I thank you, Mr.
Thank you to the ranking member, the gentlelady from Iowa. The floor is yours for 8 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, it's nice to see you. Thank you so much for coming to testify today and
which
for always
Iowa
taking my
person
phone
is it?
call. You know, as I've had questions dealing with many of the challenges faced with your shutdown
know
from
who
back
you are.
home, that I continued again
You're
to support
scaring me.
keeping you guys open so you could operate.
You're scaring me. You're just trying to have sex with him, and I don't really understand why. Sorry. Oh my God. I mean, I'm a blonde too, so, but, unfortunately, she's like the fucking.
The incredible work, and can I say so far CBP can do, because we can only enforce it when it hits our shores, not when it's
Isn't an
outside.
hour so south of me, we had a
there's some
couple
areas
miles
that Congress
away.
can really help us.
Wow, you guys
on
have been
saying
getting
that,
it this year.
The percentage
Isn't
of it,
that
or all of
unusual?
it, has to be built, has to be manufactured, not just assembled
Isn't
in
that
those
a-
countries.
that's unusual,
That would
right?
be very
Yeah,
helpful
odd.
to us.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for coming today. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
I'm wearing this trad rad pink dress for everybody.
Thank you for your generosity, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Mullen, good to see you. Let me just follow up with what Ms. Hinson was saying. You do return even my calls and my tests. Sometimes it's late in the night with the expectation that additional
this. I
vetting
can't
requirements
forward
may
anymore.
even further strain those processing times. Could you describe how DHS is allocating personnel and resources to address this backlog and ensure timely adjudication of applications?
Yeah, unfortunately, we're having to go back through and re-vet a lot of people that was given asylum or given visas underneath the previous administration
Why?
because they didn't do any checks. So we're building.
Give me a fucking break. This is a lie. This is a lie. Give me a fucking break. Stop acting like Democrats didn't do. Yes, this is a live hearing, Kim HR. Yeah, this is live. Mark Wayne Mullen in front of the Committee on DHS, the House Committee on Oversight. This is definitely live. But give me a break. Give me a fucking break. Oh, bye, Neil. See you tomorrow. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Systems in right now to be able to
All right,
do
I'll be
that
right back. I gotta-
through an automated
I gotta
system.
pee.
We're bringing up the first one in
can't
30
handle this
days.
anymore.
That's going to be specifically for the backlog of DACA, which DACA doesn't give you, status in the United States. It just is a term that Congress never ratified, but we put in place. But it still allows you to apply for a work visa, but it doesn't give you status. That we're going to deploy the first one in 30 days, and then we think we'll be able to get caught up in a very fast time. But we're having to build the automated systems because it's just not possible for us to go through one by one. But because we're going through there and taking a deeper look at all this, we've been able to arrest over 1,900 known terrorists that were given status underneath the Biden administration inside the United States. Over 1,900. These aren't suspected terrorists. These aren't terrorist watch lists. These were terrorists that was just issued because there wasn't any really checks and balances put in place. And so it's real work that they're doing, but we are building a system to be faster at it. And the technology that we have, the private-public partnership we've been talking about a lot, is helping us get there.
Good. So on a related note, I appreciate the agency's follow-up to a question that I actually submitted, if you remember, Mr. Chairman, when Director Edlow testified regarding the adjudication and processing time specifically for H-2A petitions. The response indicated that there was no backlog for H-2A petitions, which, thank you, that's a welcome update. However,
It's a 15-day turnaround. Once it gets cleared, it's 15 days.
Well, what I was going to ask, the response also indicated that the processing times in 2026 so far are notably longer compared to previous years. So just looking for your commitment that you'll continue to support the agency's efforts to expedite these petitions. As you know, timing is critical for agriculture. And will your budget ensure that sufficient resources are dedicated in order to carry out those responsibilities.
So I had a briefing on this 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Our turnaround on those visas are 2 days or 15 days, especially if they're known. A lot of these agriculture workers are known. They come back and forth. We see them every time. We can repeat them, and the largest percentage of those are. We're also looking at the dairy issue.
Right. Thank you for that.
And because it's not seasonal. So we think we got a path forward to fix that issue finally. We've asked Congress for clarification, but anytime you ask Congress for, I'm not beating up on you guys. I sat there too. So I'm just saying anytime we ask Congress for anything to try to do with immigration, it gets just politicized. So, but we think underneath statute, there's a way for us to move this and make it work. We're still going through it. We're still getting legal opinion on it. We don't want to do anything but I don't think you guys would get upset if we did it, but I want to make sure we're legally able to do it.
What are we talking about?
As of 2 days ago, we're 15 days on turnaround on those. Once they're finally submitted correctly, we have a large percentage of them that are not entered correctly. And what I've asked CIS to do, USCIS, is to say, why can't we move this to a system that you can't submit the paperwork until it is filled out correctly? You know, if you do DocuSign or you do any of this stuff online, what you got to go and accept, they won't let you move forward. The technology is there. We just have to adapt it in a way to be able to make it interface friendly with the public, with the general public, to be able to make it more efficient. So we're doing a test program on this. We're actually trying to build an app. This is new this week. I briefed the president about it this week, and the president loved the idea. We're also, because some of these visas that we work with, these programs go through Commerce. Howard Lutnick and ourselves, our teams are working together to try. I don't know how long it'll take. It'll take a little bit to build it.
I hope the voters remember that.
The misinformation won't be as prevalent, and we can get to it faster, because everyone we delay affects our economy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so we want the people trying to get here to do it. To do it the right way, to work, to actually be able to come to the country and work.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Let me turn the page to
I actually had questions about that.
It was already referenced, the longest shutdown in history. When Director Anderson testified before this committee, I asked him about CIS's ability to identify, to mitigate, address the cyber threats from adversaries like Iran, like China, talking about critical infrastructure. Unsurprisingly, his answer was that CISA was limited in their capacity, and it was clear that a handicapped CISA meant higher risk of leaving our critical sectors, from our water systems to our hospitals, energy grids, you name it, dams, the agricultural sector. They're all vulnerable to cyber threats. So does the budget sufficiently provide personnel and resources that are going to be necessary to ensure that CIS is equipped, that they can tackle the potential cyber attacks from those adversaries that target those critical sectors of our economy?
I do believe, as a secretary, I say, no, we always need more money. Truth is, we actually have the resources we need. We need the people, and we need the expertise. I think we even have the ability underneath statute to do it. What's happened over the years, like any great government agency, it creates its own bureaucracy. You guys give us authority, then we write the rules. And the rules sometimes handicap ourselves. So we're going back and looking at is what was the actual intent of Congress, and then how many layers of rules have we put on ourselves to say no? Because too often government agencies, it's easy to say no. We're changing that way at DHS. We go to yes. Good. We lean to yes. That's our new policy. We're there to figure out how to make it happen, not to find the easy way out. And some of that is our own rulemaking. So I feel like right now, Congressman, we have the resources financially, and we have the authority, I believe. If that changes, I'll come back to you. But we don't have the personnel. And so we've got to get my director in place that we have, that the president's already met with. We got to get him in place, get him down the road, put him in place, let him hire his people, and get it built. Truthfully, once he's in place, it's going to take me probably 12 months to build this back. It may be longer when he gets in there and lets me know, but I believe we can make significant strides in the first 3 months. But to actually be where we need to be, I feel it'll take a full year.
well, let us help you wherever we can there.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate you being here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you to the gentleman from Washington. I am now going to claim my 8 minutes for questioning and give 2 minutes of it to the gentleman from Indiana, who was very generous with his 8 minutes in letting the secretary respond to some earlier questions. So the floor is yours for 2 minutes, Mr. Shreve.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and you have earned your paycheck today. I appreciate your managing and protecting time for all members of this committee. Secretaries, I'm from Indianapolis. As part of my district, we run some big events, much as we were talking about with the threat of drones, counter UAS on FIFA. We've got the Indy 500. We have the men's Final Four. We had the Pacers playoffs. Secretary Edgar, as a mayor, you realize that these threats to public safety arising from the evolution of drones, which are tools as well.
Okay. You know what? I don't really need to hear any more of this. We got this. We got this. Because we have a lot of stuff to read. We have some stuff we need to read. So let's go ahead and begin with about this H-2A visa program. I was just curious because this actually was a big question in my mind. Like, given all of the immigration enforcement that's been happening, given all of the impact to businesses, even here in Los Angeles, just looking at that, they announced that there's been a decline in businesses because they can't sustain without workers, right? People aren't going to work. People have been deported. People have self-deported. People have fled, whatever the situation might be. So I was curious about farm workers and whether or not, how is this country going to accomplish agriculturally what it seeks to accomplish if it doesn't have that amazing workforce, right? Like, that's a gift to this country, actually, that people are willing to do that hard work a long time without any rights or protections whatsoever, by the way. Let me just also say that it took a lot of protesting and a lot of boycotts and a lot of pressure to have farm owners provide housing, food, temperature control care. There's an app called Calor app, which is for farm workers to report unsafe conditions, things like that. It made me wonder, with all of the stuff that's happened in the last year and a half, what is that doing to the amount of seasonal workers that traditionally would come over the border during, planting or harvesting or other seasons where there's a high concentration? So it kind of, it was an interesting, I'm glad it actually came up. And it sounded like they're doing some kind of temporary thing, this new app or something. So I just wanted to take a look at what this is from farmers.gov, U.S. Department of Agriculture. So this is USDA. So this is the H-2A visa program. And they have this thing, let's see. The H-2A Temporary Agricultural Workers Program, often called the H-2A Visa Program, helps American farmers fill employment gaps by hiring workers from other countries. Let's see. Already start. Okay, let's see. The H-2A Temporary Ag Program helps employers who anticipate a lack of available domestic workers to bring foreign workers to the U.S. to perform temporary or seasonal agricultural work, but not limited to planting, cultivating, or harvesting labor. And my question, too, is, he's talking about all this stuff he's shown the president and his deputy and all this stuff. Is that stuff that's being shared with any of us? Like, is he going to tell us or the Congress about the new programs and new apps and shit like that? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. Okay. Depending on the type of work you need, temporary or seasonal agricultural work can happen on farms, plantations, ranches. We still call things plantations. Why do we even use that word anymore? Okay, so we're just doing definitions here, but I wanted to find out. The farmer applies for a domestic job order and I don't know how this is different from the other, from prior to the Dump administration. So that would be a question I have in my mind. Applies for a domestic job order with 1675 calendar before they need the work to start. The state workforce agency provides approval. The farmer submits a temporary labor certification form, blah, 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 with the Department of Labor's office using foreign labor certification, its flag system, or at least 45. Okay. DOL's Office of Foreign Labor Certification provides the farmer with its final determination. The workers apply for H-2A visa with the Department of State. Why do they do it? Okay, never mind. And complete consulate interviews. Approved workers travel to the work site. So is this what's happening for like all of the farm workers that work in fields? You're telling me, is this new? That's what I'm curious about. Okay, I'm going to have to look into that. I'm going to have to look into that. Yeah. Lake Michigan's shoreline is the amazing any time of year, but especially summertime. Spent much of my youth at Grand Haven beaches. I have like this dream of going to Michigan in the summertime. That seems like a really idyllic thing to do. I know it's hot and I know there's, whatever bugs, but anyway, the Brown Iron Beach. I don't know what that is. Okay. All right. Let's get through some of these wonderful things. Okay. So I was on my little phone last night and, I was on my little phone and I thought, I'm going to pull up the Night Sky app. You know that Night Sky where it's like I have the free version. I don't pay for it, but I'm going to pull up the Night Sky app and see I don't know. I was just fucking around. And so I did. And when I did, this is what I saw. All these blue things are satellites. And they're all Starlink. All of those. Now, I'm sure there's lots of, I'm like, fuck. Anyway, this is just like, I was just like, what? And Bobo even looked at it and she's like, oh my God, that just seems really like there's such a huge concentration of Starlinks above us or whatever below us. So anyway, so that led me to question how many satellites do we have? Are there any rules about satellites? I don't know. I bet it does blow up in the summer. I bet it's like amazing. It's like Maine. I lived in Maine for a while and that was like summertime was like, but and fall too. Yeah. The peepers, leaf peepers. Okay. The number of satellites orbiting. This is from Live Science. When was this written? May 18th, 2025. How many satellites orbit Earth? The number of satellites orbiting our planet is rising fast thanks to private mega constellations that pose various threats to space exploration and astronomy. But how big has the problem already become? So this is a little dated, but not. See, there they are. I'm telling you, this is what they look like on the little thingy-bingy too. Oh boy. Not so long ago, the dawn of the space age, there were just a handful. Oh, let me make this bigger. Grandma can't see. But now, roughly 70 years later, there are thousands of spacecraft swarming around our planet and many more waiting to be launched almost every day, and probably like times 10 since this was written. But just how many satellites are already in orbit around Earth? How many could potentially join them? And what sort of problems could they cause once they're all up there? For many decades, the number of satellites being launched into space remained fairly constant. Since the first ever human-made satellite, Sputnik, entered orbit in 1957, between 50 and 100 satellites were launched into space every year. This continued until the 2010s, when the emergence of private space companies like SpaceX triggered an increase in the number of launches, which have continued to rise sharply. In 2024, a rocket was launched every 34 hours on average, putting more than 2,800 satellites into orbit. There was something on this in the last few months examining Starlink contribution to catastrophe inflection point. I think concluding already too late. Yeah. Oh no, I'm telling you, we've got a big Michigan contingent in this show, TV2. We are definitely Michigan is well represented in this chat, beautifully so, I might add, by a number of individuals. All right, let's see. As of May 2025, there are roughly 11,000 700 active satellites in orbit around Earth. Okay, so now I have to find out how many there are. How many active satellites? Oops. Are currently in orbit. In orbit. Okay, so this one, as of May 2025, this thing says there are roughly 11,700 satellites in orbit around Earth. And then I pulled up Nano Avionics. How many satellites are in space? Oh, I see. Oh my God, there's a website called Orbiting Now. Oh my God. Where is it? Where is it? Show me. Oh, I have to accept cookies. Okay. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, that's an ad. You're telling me. Okay, you guys are very bad at answering this. Okay, see, this is dumb. Okay, well, they said 12,000, but they say that's from 2025. Okay, hold on. Okay, Jonathan's space report. This looks really legit. Look up space debris. Hi, Josh. How are you, darling? Plenty of room. Yeah, plenty of room. Okay, wait. 2026, is that? Okay, well, this is okay. All right. Let me just show you. This is the conversation from this is from February excuse me, February of 2026. Earth's orbit is on track. It says that currently there are 14,000, what does it say? Currently 14,000 active satellites. Too many dicks on the dance floor. Sell a track. Okay, here we go. This is what we need to bookmark that bitch. Okay. Sorry. Oh my God, I can't read this at all. All right, so can you just give me a number? Oh my God. They are going to run out of 5-digit catalog numbers estimated to occur around July 12th. This is so crazy. Okay, can you guys tell me just a summary of how many are? Okay, never mind. You can't. All right, but anyway, so it's about 14,000 exit page. Oh my God. Okay, dummies. All right. Let me go back to this. What happened? What happened here? Share screen. How many satellites orbit the Earth? This is gotta go away. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Going back to this. All right. So there's about 14,000 satellites right now, a majority of which are located in low Earth orbit, LEO, below 1,200 miles and above our planet's surface. Jonathan McDowell, an astronomer at the Harvard and Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics, who's been tracking satellites since 1989, told Live Science. However, the total number of satellites, including those that have stopped working, are either waiting to be deorbited or have been moved to an elevated graveyard orbit. A graveyard orbit could be as high as 14,900, according to data from the United Nations Office for Space Affairs. Although this number is hard to properly track. See, that's what I'm wondering. You're telling me that they tracked 11,700 in May 2025, and as of whatever, February 2026, it's only 14,000? I don't know about that. Okay. Let's see. But this is just the beginning. Some experts predict that the number of active satellites could increase almost tenfold before eventually leveling out. If this does happen, it could create numerous problems for astronomy, space exploration, and the environment. Never forget. A good resource. Oh, here we go. Hi, Meowing Star. There we go. What did you say? You said a good resource to jump into Great Lakes protection is Flow for the Love of Water. Okay, I'm going to look them up. And what else did you say? I know several water protectors that have been involved in organizing lawsuits around Line 5 for a decade now. Oh, Jane said, I ran into a Line 5 protest on St. Clair. It was 2 people a few summers ago. My kid and I stopped and listened to them. That's nice. That's cool. Hey, Meowing Star, another great Michigander. Michigander? I think. Michigander, right? Yeah, that's what it is. Now I got it right. My second oldest brother is a satellite guy. He earned his master's from MIT right when satellites were taking off. Whoa. Yeah, Hedy Lamarr is to blame for all of this. Goddamn math. It causes a space traffic management problem. It will exacerbate the proliferation of space debris. It is interfering with astronomy and stargazing. Think about that. And the rocket launches and re-entries cause atmospheric pollution. Aaron Boley, an astronomer at the University of British Columbia, who has previously studied these effects, told Live Science, we're still trying to understand the extent of the impacts. The exponential rise in satellite numbers is largely the result of mega constellations, giant networks of satellites built by private companies such as SpaceX Starlink constellation that aim to provide communications services across the globe. For example, as of May 2025, roughly 7,400 active Starlink satellites are orbiting Earth, which account for more than 60% of the total number of active satellites, according to McDowell. All of these have been launched since May 2019. SpaceX may be leading the way, but other organizations are hot on their heels, including Eutelsat's OneWeb constellation, AST's Space Mobile Network, Amazon's upcoming Project Cooper, and China's Thousand Sails constellation, among others. Oh, well, it should be really great then. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? You got an offer yesterday at 35.99. There you go. I just threw out junk mail for 28.99%. Oh my God. They can read license plates from outer space. Well, have fun with that. It's hard to predict how many. However, research can predict the maximum number of satellites that can safely orbit our planet. The total, known as the carrying capacity, will likely be the upper limit of how many active satellites can coexist at once without constantly smashing into one another. McDowell and Boley, as well as the other astronomers, including Federico De Bruno at Transnational Square Kilometer Array, SKA Observatory, and Benjamin Winkel at the Max Planck Institute for Radio Astronomy in Germany, all believe that the carrying capacity for LEO will likely extend up to 100,000 active satellites. At this point, new satellites will likely only be launched to replace those that eventually die and fall back to Earth. Really? Is that what you think? Okay. It's unclear when this carrying capacity will be reached. However, based on the current rate of increasing launches, several experts predict that it could happen before 2050. Yeah. The sheer number of satellites expected to orbit our planet will likely impact us in several ways. One of the major issues associated with satellites is space junk. Although most modern rockets are at least partly reusable, they still use boosters that get discarded in LEO, low Earth orbit, and can drift there for years before re-entering the atmosphere. If these pieces collide with one another, satellites or larger spacecraft like the International Space Station, they can create thousands of smaller pieces of debris, which increase the likelihood of further collisions. If left unchecked, this could... Oh, you know what? I need to read that article. Is there an up and down in space? I'm gonna bookmark that for myself because I want. If left unchecked, this could create a cascade of collisions that render low Earth orbit LEO effectively unusable and limit our ability to expand out into the solar system. Researchers call this problem the Kessler syndrome and are already warning that it should be tackled now before it's too late. Well, we're going to guarantee that we don't do that now. Now that you said it, we're not going to do it. Satellites also reflect light to Earth's surface, which is already causing headaches for optical astronomers. The brightest objects can photobomb telescope images with large streaks of light as they move across a camera's field of view during long exposure photos, interfering with observations of distant objects. We can't have anything. We just can't have anything. That's my thing. Nothing is going to happen. Nothing's going to work. I didn't read about jellyfish. What's the jellyfish thing? I keep seeing that referred to, but I don't know what it is. Okay, hidden pollution, excuse me, such as radiation leaking from Starlink satellites is also impacting radio astronomy. Oh, okay. If the carrying capacity is reached, some experts fear that the level of radio interference could render some types of radio astronomy completely impossible. Rocket launches also release greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, which contribute to human-caused climate change. A single launch can release up to 10 times more carbon than an average commercial plane flight, although they are significantly less frequent. Meowing Star, those satellite numbers are just wild to me because what was JSOC tracked as just debris over a decade ago, right? Right? They're a little wild. Yeah, you want your cell phone? J Herb is taking me to get more candy after my group today. We love J Herb. We love your baby. He's a good egg. Satellites can also impact the environment in other ways. As the old saying goes, what goes up must come down, and satellites are no exception. Emerging research has suggested that when spacecraft burn up upon reentry, they release large amounts of metallic pollution into the atmosphere. While this area of study is still young, some scientists have suggested that the mega constellations could deposit enough metal in our skies to potentially disrupt Earth's magnetic field. I'm sorry. I know this is not funny, but it's gotten to the ridiculous point. Which could potentially disrupt Earth's magnetic field with potentially catastrophic results. I would imagine that would be catastrophe. Although private satellites can provide useful services such as connecting rural and disadvantaged communities to high-speed internet, many experts question whether the benefits outweigh the potential dangers. Well, can we do, instead of giving all the rich people their Starlinks, can we also focus on disadvantage? Can we just get broadband for everybody? Maybe that's the best use of any kind of satellite. You know what I'm saying? Like what? I guess you say, what can make me feel this way? Space junk, space junk, space junk, talking about space junk, space junk. Oh, coleslaw? Are we talking about coleslaw? I do love a good coleslaw. I love mustard in my coleslaw. I love mustard on anything. I love mustard on my finger. Okay, sorry. I got distracted. Can we put all them in space? Yeah. Although private satellites can provide useful services, okay, the broadband, many experts question whether the benefits outweigh the potential dangers. At the very least, most experts agree that we should reduce the number of launches until we have a better idea of what's going on. Oh, good luck with that. I don't think a full stop on satellite launches would work. Well, no, because people keep buying shit. However, slowing things down and delaying the placement of 100,000 satellites until we have a better international rules would be prudent. Good luck. I got mustard on my SATs. I guess you'd say, what can make me feel this way? Coleslaw. Talking about coleslaw. Coleslaw. Oh my God. From the absurd to the even more absurd, we're going to talk about the alleged Antifa members who have received decades in prison. Decades. Some of them for standing there. I shit you not. All right. I wanted to read this. Is from a couple days ago. So I'm going to but this is the Washington Post article about the people who received prison terms in Texas, of course. 8 people got prison terms ranging from 30 to 100 years after a protest turned violent outside an immigration detention center in Texas last summer. And there they are. These are the people that have been jammed up in the system. Fort Worth. Federal judges in Texas on Tuesday gave 8 members of an alleged Antifa cell prison sentences as long as 100 years for their roles in last summer in a protest outside the Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility that included vandalism and the shooting of a police officer. Benjamin Song, a former Marine reservist who was convicted this year of attempted murder for shooting the officer outside the Prairie Land Detention Center in Alvarado, Texas, faced life in prison and received 100 years. The other 7 defendants were given prison terms between 30 and 70 years for charges such as rioting, providing support to terrorists, conspiracy to use and carry explosives, and conspiracy to corruptly conceal documents. Only Song was convicted of attempted murder. The case has been praised as a victory by Trump administration officials as they crack down on left-wing protesters. Quote,
"These sentences justly punish the vicious, armed attack that these Antifa cell members planned and executed against law enforcement and detention center officers on the night of July 4th last year. And a little bit like the other people planned when they stormed the Capitol on January 6, 2021. But we're not going to talk about that. I don't know. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about these other people. You know, people that are standing up for the rights of people they've never met. Yeah, those are the people we're talking about. I'm not talking about the J6ers, okay? So don't bring it up again because it makes me really, really mad. Oh, I'm Ryan Raybould, U.S. Attorney for Northern District of Texas. And I say there are terrorist acts, attempted murder, vandalism, and explosives launched at a detention facility were a far cry from a peaceful protest or a First Amendment expression. So for that First Amendment expression, we're going to put you in the pokey. That's right. You got to go to the pokey for a long time because we're really mad.
if these sentences aren't overturned, like immediately, I don't know what's going to Texas, better get your shit together. The sentences come a week after the Justice Department filed charges against 15 people in Minneapolis who prosecutors allege belong to Antifa groups that conspired to obstruct and attack immigration agents earlier this year. I mean, I'm Antifa. I don't know about you. I wouldn't be anything other than Antifa, but no, it's not a... we're not like you. We're not like the right-wingers. The investigation stemmed from the National Security Presidential Memorandum 7. I'm going to start calling him that from now on, which President Trump issued after the killing of asshole Charlie Kirk in September. The memo defined Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization and directed the Justice Department to investigate and disrupt networks, entities, and organizations that foment political violence. It's funny because Antifa, A, isn't an organization. So I don't know how you define them as a domestic terrorist organization when they're not an organization. Okay. Let's talk about the 3%ers. Let's talk about the Patriot Front. Let's talk about the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers and all those are domestic terrorists. Okay, babes. The other defendants in the Prairie Land trial, which ended in mid-March, are Savannah Batten, Zachary Evans, Autumn Hill, Megan Morris, Maricela Rueda, and her husband Daniel Sanchez Estrada, and another couple, Elizabeth and Inez Soto. Inez Soto is scheduled for sentencing July 1st. Batten, Morris Hill, Elizabeth Soto, and Evans face sentences of up to 60 years and received 50 years each. This is insane. Sanchez Estrada, who was not at the protest, faced a maximum sentence of 40 years and received 30 years. Rueda, his wife, faced a maximum of 60 and received a 70-year term. God. Paul Butler, a Georgetown University law professor and former federal prosecutor, called the sentences stunningly severe. Such sentences, he said, are extremely rare, especially for defendants who aren't the trigger persons in violent crimes or haven't stolen millions of dollars. Attorneys for the defendants, who include a middle school teacher, a college student, a mechanical engineer, and a UPS worker, have said they are appealing the convictions. The sentencings took place simultaneously in 2 courtrooms belonging to U.S. District Judge Mark Pittman. Oh, Mark, strap in, sweetie. A Trump appointee who oversaw the 12-day trial, and Chief U.S. District Judge Reed O'Connor, who was appointed to the federal bench by Bush. Butler said it was unusual for a judge who did not preside over the trial to sentence half the defendants. Well, but it's Texas. At sentencing, O'Connor said the defendant's violence and... Oh, here we go.
Here we go. I'm Judge O'Connor, and I want to tell you something serious. Okay, this is something serious. Hi, Heather and Todd. Hi. Okay, anyway. Bye, TV2. Bye. See you later, friend. Ciao, Bella. The defendant's violence and terrorism is an assault on democracy. Yeah, I trust me. The defendant's planning, staging, and execution of the attack led to the attempted murder of an officer who, ironically, is not even involved in enforcing immigration law. So you shot the wrong person, I guess. Is that what you're trying to say? Because that's kind of a weird take on it, but okay.
Assistant U.S. Attorney Sean Smith argued at trial that defendants, led by Song, plotted the attack as part of the protest outside the detention center, which also included anti-ICE vandalism. Any Trumpers watching, remember, you can't be the party of law and order and fight for a rapist. Yup. Yes. Well, welcome to Heather and Todd. Okay. Plotted the attack is... Oh my God, here we go. This is the smoking gun, you guys, so listen up. Which also included anti-ICE vandalism. Smith noted that the defendants armed themselves, wore all black clothing known as black bloc. I have a lot of black clothing because it makes me look thinner. That's what I tell myself, okay? That's what I tell myself. It makes me look thinner. To conceal their identities. Yeah, that's also the ICE agents, by the way. And hid their phones in bags to prevent police from tracking them. All Antifa tactics. No. This is not Antifa tactics. This is how you protect yourself at a protest. Okay, so just stop. Stop making everything nefarious when it's not. We're not buying it. It's a moida, I tell you. It's moida. You're moidering me. Give me a fucking break. Defense attorneys countered that their clients' chat messages showed that they had planned a peaceful demonstration, not a violent attack. Defendants who were armed had obtained their guns legally, they noted, arguing that the prosecution was politically motivated and the evidence slim. Pamphlets, zines, and books seized from the accused were also legal. Evidence of the group's shared political beliefs, not membership in an organized group. It's amazing to me that a jury did this. I'm sorry. How was this jury chosen? I understand that we already have a jury selection problem in Texas. I get that. Short for anti-fascist, Antifa is a loosely knit movement. No, it's not. It is not. It is not. It is not even far left. Oh my God. Fuck you, Washington Post. Often anti-capitalist or anti-state. No, actually, anti-state would be the Dump administration. Okay? That's who's anti-state. Prairie Land prosecutors defined Antifa in court filings as a militant enterprise made up of networks of individuals and small groups, primarily ascribing to a revolutionary, anarchist, or autonomous Marxist ideology. Do they even know what a Marxist ideology is? Which explicitly calls for the overthrow of the United States government. Oh, where have we heard that before? Oh, that'd be January 6th. Law enforcement authorities and the system of law. Yep, January 6th. During the trial, prosecutors walked jurors through the events at the ICE facility in Alvarado that led to the charges. A group arrived late on July 4th and began spray painting anti-police graffiti. Okay, slashing tires. Bummer. Destroying a surveillance camera and setting off fireworks at the building. Officers inside called local police. Well, I'm making trouble. Alvarado police. You know what? How about we don't rendition people to third countries and we don't hold people incarcerated that haven't broken any laws? Give me a break. Give me a break. I learned from Oreo Express that Antifa always leaves a calling card at the scene of a vandalism. A Dr. Pepper can. Oh, is it diet or real? Oh, I would imagine diet's pretty popular now. I thought that was all black clothes was what group of people? I thought that was all black clothes at school was a group of people. I don't know. They were the emos in my school, I guess. I'm a pepper, you're a pepper. Didn't you like to be a pepper too? I wear an Antifa hat to protest. Maybe we need to start wearing black to go tempt the fates. I mean, I don't know. I think this, whatever. I don't care. I don't care. What I see those guys doing when I'm at protests, the people who are in black bloc or whatever, they're protecting people and they're handing out supplies and they're becoming a front line against police. You know what I mean? That's what the black people dressed in all black or that seem organized. They also know what it's like to be in a protest. And there are rules about when you're in a protest, guidelines that will help keep you safe. That's what I notice. Most of the people who seem at all organized when I go to protests, if I encounter that, what I tend to see is much more, they're helping organize movement and other things. They know how the police are going to react, so they help inform other people who don't know how police are going to react. I mean, literally, that's what happens. I'm not saying that there aren't violent things that erupt, but I'm also saying that there's a lot of reasons that violence erupts at a protest, and it's not traditionally because of the people who are there. There are troublemakers that just want to start shit. There's all kinds of shit that happens. And guess what? When we protest, people are mad. We're mad because it is so frustrating. And the one thing in this country is that you're supposed to be able to protest your government and redress your grievances. Okay, so that's the point, is that we're in fact, the protesters are the most American because they're exercising that right as an active part of their citizenry. So, I don't know. I get it, but this is pretty weak. It's pretty weak sauce if this is what you have to do. If you have to make up shit and a boogeyman just because you're so scared of losing elections. Really. Alvarado Police Lieutenant Thomas Gross arrived just before 11 p.m. Song yelled, "Get to the rifles," then allegedly started shooting his AR-15 style rifle with a modified trigger that increased the rate of fire, investigators said. Well, that sounds to me like, I don't know what the evidence is, but it certainly sounds to me like that's a crime. Okay? I don't want anyone with an AR-15 style rifle at a protest. So whatever. That case to me is separate. Gross, who did not testify or appear at sentencing, testified at trial that he felt ambushed. A bullet passed through his shoulder and out of his neck, narrowly missing his spine, he said. Rueda's attorney, Sufia Khalid, noted that many of those who participated in the January 6, 2021 insurrection at the Capitol belonged to militias, actual militias, armed with multiple weapons, and attacked and injured police. But she said they were not charged. They were charged. They were not charged, were charged with lesser crimes, received minimal sentences, or were pardoned. Pittman dismissed her arguments. The difference between this and January 6 was that this was charged differently and there was a finding of terrorism. What? Okay. Why wasn't there a finding of terror? Actually, wasn't there a finding of terrorism in some of those cases? I don't know. Maybe not. Some of the defendants, like Rueda and Soto, appeared somber. Morris, 42, wept, covering her face. All I ever wanted to do with my life was to help other people, she said as she sat handcuffed in an orange stripe uniform. I didn't want what happened that night to happen. I didn't want to hurt anybody. Song smiled and used his opportunity to speak to raise alarm about what he called a nationwide crackdown on protest and free speech. I don't hate anyone. I don't hate cops. I don't hate Trump. I never want to see good people gunned down in the street. But we all saw what happened to Renee Good and Alex Preddy. The judge interrupted him at the mention of the protesters fatally shot by federal agents in Minneapolis during an immigration operation in January. This is not the time and place for a political speech, Pittman said. Later, Pittman said it was by the grace of God that people, including Song, did not die. This could have been an absolute slaughter, he said. Pittman faulted Song's attorney for arguing at trial that Song had been defending himself from the officer. If we are in an age where you use suppression fire at law enforcement, then we are at a really bad point in our history. Well, I mean, we can have that discussion. For sure. Outside the courthouse, Song's mother read the entire statement her son had attempted to share with the court before Pittman admonished him. In the statement, Song said he opposed fascism, but insisted that he was not a member of an Antifa group and that Antifa is not a group. He has accepted full responsibility, Hope Song said, but he will never accept responsibility for a lie, which they are using to prosecute people all across the country for domestic terrorism. Well, he's not wrong about that. He's not wrong about that. So that's the story. God willing, we're going to have to follow that and see what happens. Let's see. How long is this? Let's see. What am I down? 2:40. Nope, I'm not giving up. I'll never give up. I'll never. I just want to see what my stories are to see. Da, 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 da. Oh, I want to talk. I have a few articles I need to share with you. Oh boy. Okay, that's the quantum computing. Oh, wait, this. Okay. I want to talk about a couple of guys that are involved in the Department of Defense. The G word is verboten. What does that mean? Well, I mean, you know, there's definitely anti-Semitism in this country. I mean, there is a deep anti-Semitism, and I understand that there might be concern that people don't, you know, take for granted whatever. And I do understand that. I also know there's a huge difference between being upset with Israel and their leadership for the genocide that they are committing. I was listening briefly to Cliff Schechter and Dean Blundell or something yesterday. And I think Dean actually said there isn't a genocide, which I would encourage Dean to read the UN report that confirms that indeed it is a genocide happening. But nonetheless, there is a heightened sense of anti-Semitism and other things, but to me, it's a very clear distinction between the fact that Israel should not be taking the land that they're taking, committing the genocide that they're committing, and there's nothing wrong with saying that, and it doesn't have anything to do with the Holocaust. It doesn't have, which was an incredibly horrible tragedy. And my father fought it, spent almost a year in a German prison camp. My uncle died over the China Sea. So I understand that, you know, that those are very real traumas and important to never forget. But we seem to be forgetting what a genocide looks like. And that's my problem. And settlements and things like that they should be unacceptable. You can't just take people's land. And that's what Israel has been doing. And so, yeah, I think that needs to stop. That has nothing to do with the Jewish people, the struggles, and the blood libel and other things that have been subjected onto people of Jewish faith throughout the centuries. So that's real. All that's real. So, you know, I feel like that's a cheap way for people to change the conversation and make people quiet about a genocide. you know. Exactly. And both my grandfathers fought for your people. That's the thing. People have been fighting. And that's, I don't know. Here we go. Meowing. Oh, good. Two of those sentenced in Prairie Land case are trans women who will very likely face forced detransition and V-coding, which content warning. V-coding is, I do encourage you to learn about it, but understand that it is it is a practice within the prison system to put trans people in the wrong gendered units, subjecting them to violence, rape, death, or permanent solitary confinement because they can't be safe in Gen Pop. So it's a big deal. I didn't realize that, Meowing. Thank you for sharing that. Solitary, yeah, as a form of protection, even though solitary is a fucking punishment within the punishment system. Yeah. Thank you for that. Transitioning a little bit to the corruption in the Department of Defense. You know, we started, I think there was a name or something that came up, Colatides or Tedes or something like that, Cerberus management, all these weird people having to do with how the Pentagon is being transformed. And then I kind of went down a rabbit hole a little bit with a couple of articles, and I wanted to share them just to kind of get a level set on this guy or these two guys that are in the Department of Defense that seem to be pretty problematic. Let's just put it that way. All right. So let me play with me in this space while I take you through this. This is from Defense Scoop, and it's from November of 2025. Hexas acquisition overhaul seeks to spur major shifts for foreign military sales. Transforming requirements and acquisition alone is not enough, the Pentagon chief said in a speech to industry on Friday. All right. Settle in, grab a cup of coffee. Get ready to learn about corruption at the Department of Defense. All right. Defense Secretary Pete Pigsbreath unveiled broad plans on Friday back in November to shake up the Pentagon's approach to foreign military sales, marking a cornerstone in the Trump administration's disruptive new effort to reform the U.S. military's processes for supplying technology and weapons to systems to international buyers. This is it. When the IDF parks a food truck in a devastated area of Gaza and then opens fire on starving people approaching the truck begging for supplies, that's a crime against humanity. Abso-fucking-lutely. Absolutely. I mean, I hope we join the International Criminal Court. I hope that's the next move of any kind of democratically elected leadership. I don't think we should be afraid to hold ourselves to a standard outside of our own. If we don't have anything to worry about, then we shouldn't worry about it. Anyway. Okay, so this is, you gotta stay with me on this one because it's a little like, I don't know, it's a little vapor out there, but I don't know, something in me is telling me that this is important. Transforming requirements and acquisition alone is not enough. This is a pig's breath speech. We must also improve the way our department and the industrial base supports weapon sales to our allies and our partners. This is a top priority for my team in partnership with Marco Rubio and Nutlicker, Pig's Breath said. Dump is securing deal after deal to bring cold hard cash to American manufacturers, but our processes are too slow and our industrial base is too inefficient to keep up and deliver on time to our allies and partners. During a speech to an audience of industry professionals, Defense Department personnel, and other stakeholders at National War College on Friday, Pig's Breath announced a slew of forthcoming changes that his team is rapidly pursuing to revamp the U.S. government's frameworks and practices for defense acquisition and arms transfers. Emphasis. The Pentagon released a new enterprise procurement strategy and 3 associated memorandums to guide this shift to reporters and attendees shortly after the event. In the aftermath of Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 22 and separate conflicts in the Middle East that emerged after Iran-backed Hamas attacked Israel in 2023, nations' interest in buying weapons from America has expanded substantially over the course of recent years. And in 2025, DUMP has also prioritized FMS, which I can't remember. What is FMS? Foreign something. Damn it. Okay. Of FMS deals and reform as part of his second term's America First policy agenda. It's no secret that bureaucratic and modernization challenges across the federal government are increasingly plaguing such procurement processes, including lengthy requirements leading to delivery delays, complexities that result in a lack of oversight and transparency, and other issues that can impact U.S. competitiveness. We can and must do better. We're taking decisive action to resolve it. We've worked to bake exportability into the acquisition lifecycle from the very beginning, and we're investing heavily in making that a reality. We're modernizing our IT systems and establishing clear performance metrics to track progress and identify bottlenecks at the operational level, Pig's Breath noted. Some of our combatant commands I've seen firsthand have similarly begun moving out to remove FMS process inefficiencies at the tip of the spear in theater. But the next step is a crucial one. He announced the realignment of an operational control of the Defense Security Cooperation Agency, DSCA, and the Defense Technology Security Administration, the DTSA, from the Pentagon's Policy Directorate to the Acquisition and Sustainment Directorate, which sounds so minor and unimportant. While the DSCA helps deliver defense items, services, and training to allies and partner nations, the DTSA administers the department's technology security policies and reviews export licenses for dual-use items. Pig's Breath said this switch in reporting and organizational structure is necessary because success demands a unified approach across the entire acquisition lifecycle, from the first dollars invested in research and development all the way through to maintenance and delivery of spare parts. Starting today, we will now manage our defense sales enterprise with a single integrated vision, from initial planning to contract execution to delivery. In the official memo, well, this was the thing that got me. Oh, this was the hole I fell down. In the official memo on this initiative published after his speech on Friday, Pig's Breath directed the Pentagon's undersecretaries for policy and A&S to produce a draft implementation plan for his approval within 60 days. His mandates follow and build on an EO Trump issued in April 2025, reforming defense sales to improve speed and accountability. This is just the beginning of transforming our approach to defense sales, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so there you've got that. November of 2025. He talks about boring old, procurement and sales. And then I was like, oh, okay. Let's see. Let's go to where it had it. It had it. It had it. It had it. Where is him? Where are you? Where's my Colatides article? Maybe. Oops. Oh, I hate this fucking subscription shit. Let me make sure I got this right. Okay, well, I need my. I'm pretty sure I had this. Dun dun dun. Okay, wait, hold on. I had this story pulled up 18 million times, and I kept moving it from one window to another. And I think I moved it right on out. Right on out. Right on out. Okay, that's fine. I can find it. Hold on. Oops, that's not how you spell that. That's how, no, you don't spell that. Yeah, where is it? Oh my God. Who's coming after me with this? Oh, okay. It is the one. I'm sorry. Oopsie poopsie. But there's one missing article that I wanted. Shit. Shoot, man. Shoot, man. Man. Okay. Well, let me tell you a little bit about why I'm going to read this article. Let me show you this article. So the two people who are now in charge of this whole process, well, actually, I should say just the one of them. His name is Kolatades. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's a Greek name, so forgive me. And his, oh, son of a bitch. I keep closing things. That's what my problem is. Okay, son of a bitch. Oh my God. Girl. Come on. Come on. Where is it? Where's my responsible statecraft? Meh. Oh my God. This is really upsetting. I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry. This is not what I planned. Where's that fucking article? Boy, I bet you Stephanie Miller doesn't have this problem. Fuck. Son of a bitch. Oh, here we go. God damn it. Son of a bitch. This is what I've been trying to find. So the guy who's basically now the head of this whole effort that I just described of defense sales and other things is this guy named Kolatades, who's a former lobbyist or former like second in command at the NRA, big gun lobbyist, big firearms, dirty as fuck. Worked for CERBERUS, which is that I don't know if it's an intelligence firm or what it is. Well, but let me tell you a little bit about him. What the fuck? I hate all these things so much. I'm never gonna do it again. All right. So basically, this article, because I started looking, who's George Kolatades, is part of a cadre of Cerberus. Oh, that's private equity. Sorry. Financiers brought into the Pentagon budget and procurement over the last year. This is from April of this year. And let me try and make it bigger. So, whoops. There we go. Oh, thank Jesus Christ. All right. So this, because I'm like, gosh, okay, so who is this guy? And I think it came up because of like Steven Feinberg. His name came up at a hearing or something a couple days ago. But anyway, so let me tell you about this guy. The director of the Pentagon's new Economic Defense Unit, which is a new unit within the Department of Defense for this whole procurement and arms sales thing. Okay, so start thinking arms deals. Okay, because this guy's in charge of arms deals now, basically. And the theory is that we should be making more money on arms deals than we are. There's a new unit, new money, big money. So the director of the Pentagon's new EDU, Economic Defense Unit, was a board member of Tier 1 Group, which trained 4 of the Saudi operatives involved in the 2018 murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. That's right. The guy who is in charge of the EDU was a board member of the group who trained the murderers of Jamal Khashoggi. Yeah. Websites dating back to 2009 list George K., I can't say his last name, in leadership roles at the private security company, indicating that he was at Tier 1 Group when it trained the Saudi nationals later linked with Khashoggi's killing. Under Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's approval, the agents tricked Khashoggi into going to the Saudi consulate in Turkey, where they ambushed and strangled him, dismembered, and disposed of his body. Tier 1 Group maintains the training it provided to those involved was for defensive purposes. So you admit you did it. Unrelated to the murder, and for a contract with the State Department, which pre-approved the personnel. Wait a minute. Are you telling us that? Never mind. As an industry source familiar with the matter told Raw Story or whatever, or Responsible Statecraft, on the condition of anonymity, that Kolatides resigned from Tier 1 Group as of August 17th, 2025. Yeah. Sweet, huh? Sweet. A longtime financier, prominent, Kolatides was head of defense at CERBERUS Capital Management, a prominent private equity firm that founded and funded Tier 1 Group from 2003 to 2012. He's also a chief investment officer of Aegis Capital Advisors, an advisory firm which until Monday, and this was in April of this year, listed Tier 1 Group in its portfolio. A spokesperson from Cerberus told RS that Kolatides has no involvement with the operations of Cerberus or any of its portfolio companies. Now at the Pentagon, Kolatides heads the recently established Economic Defense Unit, which is assembling a team of top-tier advisors and bankers to invest $200 billion in U.S. companies it considers critical to U.S. national security in order to compete with China. The unit has been operating for at least a month. Is it Cerberus's Pentagon? Kolatides now joins other former Cerberus executives at the forefront of the Defense Department policy. Indeed, former Cerberus CEO Stephen Feinberg is now the DoD's deputy secretary. Oh, it's second highest ranking civilian. Yeah. What could go wrong? His high-level duties, including overseeing the defense budget, afford him extraordinary influence. Feinberg is also overhauling the Office of Strategic Capital, which attracts and scales private investments in military technologies. David Lorch left an executive post at Cerberus in late 2025 to lead it. They're just people we like. Despite the government's new government roles, ties to Cerberus endure. Although he is divested from his stake in Cerberus upon joining the DoD, Feinberg filed paperwork indicating he still contracts with the firm for tax compliance and accounting services and for healthcare. Okay. Meanwhile, companies Cerberus invests in, such as Stratolaunch, NetCentrics Corp., Red River Technologies, M1, Northwind, have acquired Pentagon contracts since Feinberg assumed the Pentagon role. I think they call that self-dealing or payola. I don't know. Kolatides' Economic Defense Unit seems poised to siphon in more insiders. A pitch deck for the unit promises financier recruits unmatched access to top-level government officials and privileged information flow. This is a government agency of the Department of Defense. This isn't a lobby group. Okay, the Economic Defense Unit that is pitching this is an actual government agency. Oh, and a chance to invest more capital than most investors deploy in their entire careers, essentially marketing the unit as an elite professional development opportunity. Quote, even if no laws are broken, this is exactly the sort of arrangement that invites insider dealing, political favoritism, and capital allocation based on connections rather than merit. You know, merit. Tad DeHaven, a policy analyst at the Cato Institute, told RS, you know, the communists at the Cato Institute. Zooming out, lawmakers have long scrutinized Cerberus execs tied to Tier 1 Group. In 2020, Dump nominated Cerberus executive and Tier 1 Group board member Louis Bremer to become Assistant Secretary of Defense. But Bremer faced intense questioning over his role at Tier 1 at a hearing over his nomination, which was subsequently left to expire. Observers say the scrutiny should continue. Congress should hold hearings on Kolatides' appointment and the Economic Defense Unit itself, Ray Gerard, an advocacy director at Dawn, which Khashoggi founded, told RS. Congress should not allow a private equity network tied to the murder of Khashoggi to run hundreds of billions in Pentagon investment policy without any oversight. Had you heard about any of this? I hadn't, but I don't tend to hear about things very often. Kulatidis Aegis Capital Advisors Tier 1 group in the Pentagon did not respond to requests. Aegis Capital Advisors removed Tier 1 from its portfolio on its website after Responsible Statecraft, this publication, contacted the advisory firm. Well, that's not suspicious. A spokesperson from Cerberus told Responsible Statecraft in an email that Feinberg divested his stake from Cerberus and is not involved with the operation of Cerberus or any of its portfolio companies in any way. Oh my God, prove it. They said the services Cerberus provides to Feinberg are unrelated to its operations and investments, and that Lorch is not involved with Cerberus operations and affiliated companies. So what is the problem? How did we get here? 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 I got to read this story because I love seeing the downfall of Mikey Flynn. There's nothing better than the downfall of a fucking traitor to this country. And I think we're beginning to see that. Follow Jim Stewartson for more on the Mike Flynn disintegration. Oh, mustard on my finger. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know. Wait, I want to show you this other thing too, because this is just funny. Because I'm funny. That's why I want to show you this, because I'm really, really, really funny. See. But it's on X, and so I got to go to my, wait, where's my profile? I don't even know how to get to my profile on X. Okay. Here we go. I got to show you what I said about this. Wait, where am I? Oh, I know. I share a lot of Jim. Jim's so good. I love you. I love you. Yeah, Jim does know. Okay, wait, where is this? Oh, here we go. Okay, so basically, wait, what was it? Oh, I stepped down. This is Sun Tzu. Now, Sun Tzu, if you know us, you know that Sun Tzu is also named Ben Moore or something like that. And I always got on him for using the Sun Tzu as a name. He's an idiot. Anyway, this guy used to work, him and his twin brother used to work for Mike Flynn, right? And they are digital soldiers. They were in it to win it. They would fight with Jim and fight with Gal about Flynn and his network ad nauseum. This guy was a true believer. True believer. So Sun Tzu says, I stepped down from my position as an advisor on the advisory board of Project Defend and Protect Children with America's Future. As a digital soldier, I do appreciate General Flynn. I wish him the best. Ben, what's happening over there? Why is everyone leaving? And I said, Ben, why so sad? I'm a little less nice. You were so ready to rock out with your cock out, but now it's not them, it's me. Maybe now you'll stop supporting credibly alleged child rapists. Yeah, I never like him to forget. Let me see if I can find the other thing I said to him, which was really funny, but hold on, maybe I didn't. Actually, I don't really spend too much time on this, unfortunately. So I don't know how to use it. I think it's a reply. Oh, maybe I didn't. I'm always reminding people that they support child rapists. I'm sorry, everybody, but stop doing it, and then I won't have to do that. Okay, let me find. Where was I again? I think I got distracted. Hold on. Oh, it's the Mike Flynn story. Okay. Damn. Okay, I got it. Sorry. Yeah, I agree. Wait, what is it? Oh, me too. Ben Moore is correct. Yes, Ben Moore is correct. His twin brother goes by Son too. His twin brother is Sam. They're both idiots. Oh my God. I'm sorry. They're the biggest idiots of the planet. Anyway, so let's see what's happening over in Flin Flam land. June 22nd is the report. This report from Raw Story. Lieutenant General, bitch. Stop calling yourself a general, you cunt. You didn't make it. You were a lieutenant general and you're disgraced. Give me a break. Okay. All right. Flynn. Let's see. Retired Lieutenant General Michael Flynn's conservative nonprofit America's Future is engulfed in chaos as a wave of prominent figures abruptly quit its anti-trafficking arm and offered only cryptic clues about what tore the group apart, according to reporting by the Bulwark's Will Sommer. I have my own opinions about Will Sommer, but whatever. Facts are facts. Flynn, he might have gotten the inside story. Let's just put it that way. Flynn, who briefly served as Donald Dump's national security advisor before being pardoned for lying to the FBI, took over the storied group in 2021. As Summer documents, Flynn stalked the organization with fringe activists. Its Project Defend and Protect Our Children advisory board included Pizzagate promoter Liz Crokin and conspiracy theorist Lara Logan, a former CBS News reporter. The group screened QAnon-themed films at Mar-a-Lago events. It was kook heaven, proclaimed Summer, but it was hardly paradise. Interesting. Then this month, the exits began. On June 9th, activist Linz Piper Loomis revealed she had resigned a month earlier, teasing that she might speak more on this later and nodding to her book titled I Am Silent No More. Crokin announced on her own June 8th resignation days later, claiming she had receipts and insisting the feud was not fucking kayfabe, a reference to fabricated pro wrestling. Lawyer Ben Moore, Sun Tzu, quit June 11th, signing off as a QAnon-style digital soldier. Crokin's exit appeared to blindside Flynn's son, Junior, who replied simply, question mark, question mark, question mark. That's how you sound like, that's how that's pronounced. The cause remains unclear. Pro-Trump activist Angela Stanton King, who stayed loyal to Flynn, attributed the fighting to a drunk night between grown adults and personal shit unrelated to the organization. Crokin, in her sole comment to Summer, denied King's characterization. The fallout has disillusioned at least one former supporter, Sam Moore, brother of Ben, unloaded on X, calling his years of involvement a total mindfuck and accusing Flynn's family of running their sinking ship. These guys were true believers. I mean, you could not convince these guys that it was a problem. I'm sure Jim either has the information about what happened. I'm going to wait for Jim's reporting on the Flynn fallout. We're going to call it the Flynn failing. Yikes. Anyway. Okay, let's see here. Oh, I gotta go. It's I've been over 3 hours. I gotta go. I still have more. Okay, that's fine. We'll continue tomorrow. I'll keep trying to chip away at the rest of it. But I should probably end here so I can get something done today in relation to the move, which is coming soon. And I'm so excited. I can't even tell you how excited I am. You're going to love the new studio. You're going to love it. Anyway, you love to see it. You love to see it. You love to see people like Flynn finally get some fucking blowback for all the bullshit that he's pulled on this country and all the crap that he's done to Jim and all his little minions that do his dirty work and are so fucking annoying. Yeah, it's just nice. It's nice to see it fall apart. Congratulations, everybody. Well done. All right. Well, that's going to be it for me this morning. Thank you for coming to Wake and Bake, the craziest news show on the internet. I'm Lolo. I'll be back tomorrow morning. And also, we are going to have trivia tomorrow night. So it's trivia Trivia, trivia, trivia. And soon we're going to start a Thursday night movie in the Discord with Max's midnight selections, because she has put together a list of movies that deserve an actual feature. And so we're gonna add a movie night to the Discord. If you would like to join that, DM me on Discord. I'm on Discord, and you can DM me and we can go from there. All right. Okay. I love you guys. I hope your Thursday is really good. I hope your Thursday is really good. Woo! I hope your Thursday is really good. I hope your Thursday is really good. Hey, hit the like on your way out. Maybe share the broadcast. I don't know. And I'll update the links today, so you have links to all the articles and all the things we watched. And I will see you tomorrow morning. Okay, bye.